What up? We're live. How you doing?
What's up? I'm here.
This is episode 91 of BFS Live. We're here with Jay Roe, the team manager of Kink.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing, Jay?
All good. Stoked to be back in Rochester for a couple days here. Caught some brutal weather, but yeah, we're here. Stoked to roll through the skate park. Say what's up.
Awesome.
What do we look like here? Nice.
Really good. Yeah. So I do a little switch in here. I can do just you on the screen, or just me on the screen, or a split screen.
Very cool.
I used to do a wide angle too, but I don't do that anymore. But anyway, Jay is the team manager for Kink, the bike company, which is based out of Rochester. He's been doing this for a very long time. There are very few people that have done as much as he's done in BMX and been through such a timeline of just the sport's whole like evolution. It's really crazy. I'm like super.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I'm super excited you wanted to come on because there's just so many places we can go and there's so much you have to offer, and there's a nice dovetailing in with us having some of the younger guys on who used to be sponsored and them talking about one side of it.
For sure, yeah.
And as you said, it's kind of, you make it sound like it's mysterious. It is kind of mysterious. So it'd be awesome to just let people know like what's on the other side of it.
For sure.
What are these companies looking
That's
for?
One of the things that motivated me to reach out was just you live direct across the street from us. So and for people that are genuinely interested here in Rochester in particular, we are, we don't want to be such a shroud of mystery. And it seems like you have a lot of questions. Just listen through past episodes. You have a lot of questions, genuine questions of interest and that you're curious about. And there's nothing more that I would like to do than to let people in on that, because I'm that same person about other things, and I was that same kid in Rochester before I was on the other side of it. So yeah, we don't want to be such a mystery. And part of the thing about coming down here was just kind of open up a little bit and basically just like just talk about anything you want to talk about. And obviously you're pretty well connected to the scene in Rochester here, so I'm sure there's a lot of questions flowing from wherever through you. And I'm an open book, and Kink for the most part is an open book. And I think that just sometimes there's a disconnect here in Rochester because of the scale that we work on. We work on a world scale as opposed to a local scale. So an obvious disconnect can be created, but hopefully, this conversation in the future kind of like bridges that mysterious gap a little bit.
Not a lot of places live somewhere where there's a bike company in their backyard,
Exactly.
and I think a lot of people end up having expectations about like what that means, and people say like what does Kink do, or they aren't doing this, or it's like, well, they're catering to the whole world, really. You're selling bikes all over the world. It's like we're just they just happen to be here. That doesn't mean whatever.
Well, I mean, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just one of 1,000. I mean, this converstion could last like 8 hours.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's a good point. That's a good kickoff point. Really, is like we're such a local brand, and we care about Rochester so much, and we're all from Rochester. We're all an integral part of the Rochester scene. We all studied the Rochester scene before us. So Rochester is extremely important to Kink and to what we do. It may not seem like it. I haven't lived here since 2010. Matt's in Asia half the time. He lives in Bangkok at the moment. But that is because Kink operates on a world scale. And when I say that, I mean Rochester is showcased on a world scale. And there's people around the world that we take Rochester around the world with us. Maybe sometimes it doesn't feel like we bring BMX to Rochester as much as we should or could. But one thing I would like to get across is we do bring Rochester to the world. And that's hard to see, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's one thing we're from Rochester. We're Rochester kids. We're Rochester BMX kids, for better or for worse. And yeah, that's one of the things that I hope people in Rochester kind of know. Like, we're proud to be from Rochester, and it's something that we promote. And it's hard you can't go to everyone in Rochester and explain that.
Of course, yeah. I love Rochester. I'm a huge fan of Rochester in general. I like small cities. I like Rust Belt cities. It's very like Americana.
Yeah.
Like when you hear about like S&M or other, when I just hear California, I go, oh yeah, California, whatever. When you hear a brand as big as Rochester from a city as small, like it's awesome. Like,
yeah,
it's not like it's not a Chicago or a New York City or LA.
When I found out when I was, I don't know, 12 or 13, and I realized that Kink was here in Rochester, it still blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we were born here and that I was born here and Kink is from here, I mean, means it's everything. It's my life. So yeah, it's huge. And I think, like what you said, a lot of people aren't used to having a huge brand in their small city, because in Southern California, most of the brands are there, and kids are used to seeing people and going to jams and events, whatever. A lot more is happening out there. So it's a little different, a different vibe when you have a small city and such a big brand in it.
I hope one day I can get Zach to come on. Jimmy said he's gonna try to make it happen.
Jimmy Bun?
Yeah.
But I mean, just Zach might.
Just the whole idea of he started selling axles out of his backpack to where he goes is just like
the stories.
It's the American dream.
Stories
really.
is as American dream as it gets. And it's real and it's raw and it's authentic. And Zach had a lot to do with I don't know if I want to say late 80s, but early 90s BMX. What was media? Zach was shooting photos for BMX magazines. Zach was planning road trips, doing brands, making sales for distributions in North Carolina, whatever he was doing. He was doing a lot. So yeah, he's got a lot, obviously a lot to talk about. But
for those that don't know, Zach is the owner of Kink, which started in 94, or at least is when it was incorporated or
established.
Yeah. And that's I love it. There's a lot of people in Rochester that have been around Kink or worked at Kink, and people say this or that about Zach, and I'm always like, I don't know, dude. He's done it longer than anyone. Like, obviously, like your priorities change, and like you're running a huge company. Like, it's like obviously you have kids. Like everything changes. I
think a lot of people, especially in a professional space like the office, they expect a boss. They expect a certain type of person that they've seen in movies or on TV or read about in books or were taught at college that they would have, and that's not Zach. He's a very special individual, as we all are, as you have to be to live this lifestyle for so long and to sell BMX parts for so long and to do all this stuff. You have to be a special guy, and you don't want a super normal guy running your shit, because it's not going to be fun. You're not going to have the type of freedoms and the type of opportunities that you would get if you were with someone that was more straight and narrow and normal guy. That's how I've always felt. I know what it's like to have a boss, and I know what it's like to have Zach as a boss, and I'll take Zach forever,
He's always been pretty straight to the point with me. And that's something I've heard people criticize. He's just like really dry. Like that's business. Like I run a business, and I don't care for someone that's like fluffing me up on some BS.
No, he's not. He doesn't have. He shoots you straight. I don't know if he knows he's shooting you straight or if that's intentional, but he's a straight shooter. He's not going to bullshit you. He seems to not feel awkward about much. You know, he's made for the job that he has because it's a difficult position that he's in. It's really difficult to be in his position.
Yeah.
And it takes a special individual to do a lot of these individual jobs that exist in BMX.
Yeah.
And Zach is definitely one of those special individuals. And some people can get along with him and deal with it. Of course, me, Matt, other people. Reese worked with him forever. Roman worked with him forever. Me and Matt are going. Matt's 20 plus. I'm going on 20 years. Some people can do it, and some people can't. And that's fine.
20 years is crazy long. If you have two individuals that are working together or in a relationship together, 20 years of two people changing, like that, the data doesn't suggest that you're going to end up in the same place all the way through.
Right.
It's extraordinarily unlikely.
Exactly, yeah. So, again, I guess I can't stress enough that it does take special individuals to fulfill these special positions within this special industry. You know, everything about it.
It's a very niche sport.
It's a niche subculture. That's what I say.
It ebbs and flows, and there's been times it's been great and times it hasn't been 100%, great.
Yeah.
And Kink definitely seems it's been able to grow sustainably. Like back in like 2010 and whatnot, like things got really rough, and a lot of companies were just like down and out pretty quick because they didn't grow sustainably.
Yeah. I mean, things. We feel the same up and downs that everyone does. Everyone handles them a little bit differently, and some people are more prepared for them than others. But that goes back. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff from Zach and from employees that people will never know about, whether it's budget stuff or taking sacrifices that Zach has made and other people that work within the company to be sustainable and to grow. They're immeasurable, and no one will ever know, and it's no one's business, but it's immeasurable. Like the amount of sacrifices that Zach and a lot of other people that have been there for that long have to make to keep it going, whether it's sacrificing your mental sanity or your physical, whatever it is, your financial sanity, whatever, whatever the situation is. It's a lot, and you got to ride the waves.
Yeah, I think I don't think it was the Jaden episode, or maybe it was just in conversations I had with people afterwards. I was trying to tell people, like, you don't understand. We don't know what constraints you're under, right? You're the team manager. Right. You're managing the teams, and obviously there's a brand manager above that and an owner. Like, you have no clue what's on the backside, which is great that we're here, because this is what we're going to do the first half of the show. We're going to kind of talk about how the sponsorship side of BMX works, and hopefully that kind of extrapolates into scooters and skateboards and whatnot. So can you just tell me, as the team manager, like what do you do? What's your job? Yeah,
so my personal job with Kink, I guess if you were to look at my job description, I'm the Kink team manager and social media manager. So like the daily parts of my job that are there every day, all day, is social media. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the website. What else?
You TikTok?
All that stuff. TikTok. Like all of it. That's one of the main parts of my job that obviously has nothing to do with team managing, but the content does some of the content does come from the team, but most of it's generated in-house anyway. But and then obviously there's the team managing aspect of it, which again, obviously we have a list of pro riders, a big AM team, world team, a ton of flow kids all over the place. So that aspect of my job is connecting with riders all over the world, and just really making sure the brand's represented in different pockets, different scenes, different communities. Obviously, supporting the pro team that we have going on at the bare minimum, making sure everyone has product, doing all the orders and all that stuff. That's like the face value of the team manager position. Organizing, you get budgets, you organize trips. This is me. Every company's different, but organizing trips, marketing initiatives. There's just a million little different things that make up the team manager position for me. I think some brands do it differently. I know some brands. Yeah. Each brand does it a little bit differently. But for us, we've kept it pretty classic since day one of me doing it, which was like team manager role, and then what I do is bring everyone else together, whether it's the filmer, photographer, the riders, the bike shops, whatever the event is that we're doing or the idea. A lot of the ideas, it's a really collaborative brand, whether it's working with the team or working with the guys in the office, but a lot of the ideas, what we're going to do, I don't know, names for stuff, videos, projects, ideas, directions, that's all kind of comes under the team manager umbrella.
So what percentage would you say is, you're running social media, then there's communicating or working directly with riders of various sponsorship levels, and then let's say planning and or executing trips or projects. How would you break down that percentage?
The social media is like every day, all day. Like they never. And I live 6 hours ahead of the East Coast, but I stay on East Coast time with like my brain and my work schedule. So like social media is never nonstop. And if anyone that DMs Kink, they know they get a DM back pretty much 24 hours a day, like pretty quickly. So that's the number one thing is on social media, we're extremely obtainable, communicable. Obviously, we try to keep everything moving and stuff like that. But the social media takes up a lot of DMs, and obviously just doing the content side of that, organizing content, making sure we have stuff for the future, and then what we're going to post, and obviously actually posting stuff. That takes up, a high percentage. I wouldn't call it hard work, but it takes up a high percentage of.
Dude, I know no matter how much you streamline social media content, it's so time consuming.
It's just time consuming. Yeah, like we have an insane team at Kink that with Jason and Jesse and everyone organizing our content. Everything's very organized and we have a lot of stuff, which makes my job like a lot easier. But yeah, it's just time consuming, and like it consumes your like mental sanity and mental I don't know, strength sometimes, obviously.
Are there other team managers that don't have to do that? Do they have like dedicated social media people?
I think so. Yeah, I would assume so, because some grants don't have team managers. Like I think, for example, Call has Robbie back there all day.
Yeah. He's coming on the show.
Nice. And then for me, like for Kink, it's me behind there. For Cinema, it's me behind there. For other it's different. Some of them might just be someone in the office. Like I don't really know. But yeah, I've done all the social media for Kink since social media started.
Yeah, since MySpace, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's just always been that way. So social media does take up a good percentage of time. Dealing with team riders is daily, but it varies from a quick product order to some life advice to just catching up with whatever it is. And then I ride a lot too, obviously. So I ride with a bunch of our riders, depending on where I'm at. And if I'm in Barcelona, there's a couple guys there. So I riding with people as much as I can. Lately, it's been like a couple days a week, but normally it'd be just every day. And yeah, every day's a little different, but I'd say social media takes up a lot. And then if we're on a trip, I don't know, everything is just 100% time. I'm still doing social media, then obviously doing the trip, making sure all that stuff.
It's even harder to do social media when you're in the middle of another
It
project.
is, yeah, because
it's super hard.
When you're on the trip, you're the driver, the planner, the spot finder, the alarm clock.
Second cameraman,
the
first
second
cameraman,
yeah. And then the last thing that I think about doing is taking my phone out to like take it. But I need to think about that. So it's just depends. Just a lot of stuff. Like in my career, there's times where I feel like I'm working like 200 hours a week, and it's like this is insane. And then there's times where like I've been like it's super chilled out, super manageable. So it just depends. It goes up and down.
Just juggling a million things all the time.
Yeah, but sometimes it's I'm making it sound like I'm so busy all the time, and it's not like that. Sometimes the job is like all consuming 24/7, and maybe that's for a couple of weeks because we're on trips or whatever. Sometimes I'm on a trip for a month. Sometimes I was on the road last year for like 3 months straight. So that's all time. That's your whole 24/7. My life is back at my house with my dog and my fiance and all that stuff. So that's 24/7. But there's other times where I'm home for a couple of weeks in Barcelona. Things are a little more chilled out. That's like, social media during the day. I talk to the guys in the office all day throughout the day about different various things, which is another part of the job that isn't really in the job title. but it's a very collaborative environment with us. So me, Jason, Matt, and even the other guys, Jesse, Curtis, we're trying to bring Curtis more and more into the fold. We do everything from picking out t-shirt designs and colors and to product names and colorways and just every little thing you can think of that goes into that, everything that you see, that goes through the team manager, the graphic designer, the brand manager. Curtis is like customer service. It goes through everyone. It's not in our job titles to be to do all this different stuff. But yeah, exactly.
It's a big company, but it's a small company.
Exactly,
like people simultaneously don't understand how big these companies are, but also how small these companies are.
Yeah, I mean, Kink BMX itself is ran on like 4 people.
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
Like the actual core, like what are we going to do tomorrow with this brand is like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah,
and then it has a team that supports it and a sales group and whatever. But it's a very
even
small.
if you included all those people and you included riders as employees, I mean, what do you got? 25 people? Like,
yeah, I mean, employees. There's 10 people.
Yeah, it's crazy
right now. Yeah, and it's me, it's Matt, it's everyone in Rochester. If anyone's listening, all of us. It's just like it's not. It's just it's BMX guys. Well, now grown up BMX kids, and yeah, it's just this. It's a small, like any BMX brand. Any core BMX brand, it's a small operation, a ragtag small operation. It's ran out of a garage. It's disguised as a warehouse, but it's a garage. Like it's small. It's DIY, and it's just regular people grinding. You know, that love this, that love BMX.
I'm a fan. I'd imagine that as the sport ebbs and flows, sales ebbs and flows, your job changes year over year, right? I think that's what I mentioned earlier. Like, we don't know what affects your decisions and what the budgets are, right? So you work directly with a brand manager, that's Matt, right?
Yeah.
And Zach's the owner. You mentioned some art guys. What does that like working relationship look like between those two? Is it like 50, well, not 50-50, but 33-33? Like if the owner, brand manager, and we can make this a kink-centric argument, but we can kind of put it in the context of other brands. Mm-hmm. I just kind of want to get people to have a feel for, you can't just say, yeah, you're sponsored. Right. Or maybe you can. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, so me and Matt have been working together and living together. We've been close friends, riding together since, 2002 or 3. So we work very well together. I think we have a very healthy work relationship. And all the people that have come in and out of that work relationship, I think we've worked with, for the most part, well with. So there's basically, I have my job, and I know that the guys in the office entrust me implicitly to do what it is that I do, which is, make sure we have good guys representing our brand, make sure everyone in the office understands what's happening out in the streets, make sure, connect the outside world to HQ and a bunch of other different things like that. And I trust Jason implicitly to do the artwork. And so there's not a lot of necessity to be like, hey, what do you think about this? But what we do is just more, it's a trust thing. So I have some riders I'm interested in. I want to hook up this guy. And they're like, yeah, cool. There's not really, no one's really asking too many people for permission on stuff. It's more, hey, this is going to happen. What do you think? You guys could with it? And most, yeah, sounds good. We trust you.
Well, I'm asking more of a macro level, not a micro level. Like, for example, how many people are on the team, how much money you can allocate to paid riders or parts you give out, or you mentioned they trust you to pick people that represent your brand.
Right.
Well, who decides, what the representation of the brand should be, right? Like, is the owner and the brand manager saying, we want our brand to look like XYZ, so you have to get riders that look like that?
No.
Or do you get the riders that shape the team and go, okay, now the branding, that's...
Yeah, okay.
More like kind of high altitude.
Yeah, so Kink, since 2006, Kink it's been me doing that and Matt for the most part. On the core level of Kink BMX, those decisions, those ideas, those thoughts, or whatever, are me and Matt. Yeah, that's basically the direction, the stuff we want to do. That, like you're saying, where money goes, what riders we sponsor, how we want to look. That's mine and Matt's brains working together with whoever's with us at the time in the office as well. like I said, it's pretty collaborative. But yeah, I mean, Zach is pretty hands off. He's on a higher level. He also does international sales, and as you can imagine, he's not exactly on the ground floor of BMX community. So, yeah, that has been my number one in my brain. My number one job since I got there was to steer the ship. Me and Matt and the other guys in the office to steer the ship. That's yeah. Zach is the owner, kind of trusts us to do that. He's trusted us to do that for a long time now, and that's how it's been for, I mean, about 20 years now. Is me, Matt, our graphic designer, and whoever else, trusted people with us in the office. That's us steering the ship. Yeah.
Has Zach ever like vetoed something? Has there ever been like he's like, no, not that guy, or kick him off? There's ever been a or even in that 3 triangle? Has there ever been like you don't have to give the specifics, but are there been times where it's like one of the 3's like, no, we're not doing that, or you know?
Probably, but it's not. It wouldn't have been contentious like that.
Yeah.
Again, like we all work really well together. Especially
awesome.
The crew we have right now we just work really well together. And Matt and I obviously have worked together for so long, and had a relationship before that it seems to work. So yeah, we don't really have those kinds of battles. There's no battles, to be honest. But I think about that sometimes, and I think that me and Matt grew up in an era of BMX together that is so ingrained in our brain, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, and probably a lot of people listening too, that we agree on we're mid-school BMX kids. Like,
Yeah.
we just, yeah. I mean, we don't really have those kinds of things. If Matt thinks something's a bad idea that someone brings up, then we listen to him, and and half the time it's probably right. And if I think, everyone just listens to each other. I think everyone trusts me when they say something and I have an opinion about it, or I say something and they have an opinion about it. I trust them. We just have a healthy crew, and I think they're smart, and we trust each other. And yeah, I mean, the decisions we make are pretty much our own. But when I say our own, it's like, 3 or 4 people like, yeah, let's do this. Maybe they don't know everything about the decision, but they trust.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense when you look at Kink's branding over the years. It does seem like there's been really nice continuity. There's been a little bit like ebb and flow, and like there's kind of roughly generations, but it's nowhere near as tumultuous as like other big brands like Fit. Maybe,
no, when you look at like Fit's the number one.
Very clear this generation, that generation, like it looks nothing like it did. The branding changes, everything changes.
They can't pick a logo.
Yeah.
And that's like the most important thing,
Yeah.
like is your logo, your brand.
Yeah.
Cult has the most, that cult, I told Robbie all the time, like that cult, the CULT, like don't stop putting that on stuff, dude. That's like,
They always had pretty good brand. Cult branding, I think, has always been the best because they just kept it very, very, very simple.
Yeah, I mean,
like, cult ads are always like, if you look at it, you immediately know, and because they kept it very, very simple.
Yeah, I mean, when they dropped the brand and up to this point,
Dude, that was such an epic era of BMX. When that shit went down, that was so crazy. Dude.
It was exciting.
Was that the year I was at Interbike? I think it was like Interbike the year before that.
Yeah, because that year at Interbike was like the cult crew was there. Chase had like the Cincinnati hat with the.
I think it was the year before that. For the people that don't know that, Fit was like pretty much like the top brand for a period of time, and then the team manager and half the team left and just started a new company, and it was just like the industry got flipped on its head.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And
that was in like, I think that was like one of the best times in BMX. That 2010 era, I think, was like just the peak of BMX.
Yeah, I mean, it depends who. Yeah, depends who you're talking to.
Super contentious thing to
At
say.
the risk of taking this podcast to like mid-school talk for the next 6 hours, but yeah, I mean, that was a really cool time because people were figuring out how to get like media out in a new way. Social media was just starting to churn, but everyone was still making videos and film videographer. Everyone had videographers still, and it was a cool time. It was a really cool time.
I talk about the decentralization of action sports a lot on this podcast, and that I don't think we're gonna get there today, but that was like the middle of it, where it's like you still had DVDs, but you were getting web edits, like high quality, cool web, like Cinema's first web edit. I remember that was like just super epic.
Yeah.
I remember it was that Budo Span song. Oh, that was sick.
Yeah, we did the Kink Taiwan trip we did was a really early web video.
Oh, the whole jet lag series?
No, it was before that.
that.
This was
You did like New Zealand and Taiwan.
Yeah, jet lagged. Was like free DVD. I think that was free. And that was like a year of our travels put together like on a DVD. That was a pretty crazy.
That was
year.
iconic.
That was 2010. Before we went to Taiwan in 2008 and did like a web video. It was like our first web video basically, and it was really early web videos. And that was one that people for years and years and years after that were like really stuck out. And that was definitely like, wow, we just did like a DVD trip, but not for a DVD. That was one of the first times. And then doing jet lagged, we made a DVD for free, which was like a new thing.
Yeah.
Each one of those big projects was like a new way of getting our stuff out to whatever was happening at that time.
Matt O'Connell's in the chat, and he said that you saved him at Swamp Fest when he got 2 flat tires on a pallet ramp, and you recognized him. And I guess you gave him tubes.
Nice.
And he said, sick. I'm still thankful.
Hell yeah. No worries, bro. Kink BMX got you.
Hell yeah. We touched on this a little bit, but do you think your experiences as the Kink team manager reflects BMX broadly or team managers in other sports? It sounds kind of typical, but it's not. You don't think so?
I don't think so. But that may be me, like a little bit of like ego. Like, I don't know. Some brands don't have team managers. Some brands have TMs and they're filmers. Everyone kind of does it differently. Mm-hmm. I personally think that that my role as a team manager, like we said before, it has a million different things to do under the umbrella of team manager, but it's very all encompassing. Like my life is this brand, my whole life revolves around Kink BMX. All the people, most of the people in it, if not Kink BMX, then BMX. And I think in most industries, that team, it's a job for most of those people, And this isn't a job for me. I've never looked at it as a job. It's not work. It's never been that way. And I think for other people in other industries, whether it's, I don't know, whatever it is, they're going to work. They have work, and they clock out at times and they do different stuff. My life as the Kink BMX team manager has been like all encompassing. Like it's like who I am. For better or for worse.
People really don't understand what a convenience and a pleasure it is to having a job you clock out and go home.
It depends what you want. It's tough because again, I am in such a unique position to have never like disliked my job. I don't feel like I'm overworked or I'm not, I'm just so happy to be working in the BMX industry still for Kink BMX and not working somewhere that is just, drives me nuts. And
so there's never a time where you're like, I need a break from this. So it never gets overwhelming. Like what's the most stressful, like you've been there for 16 years now?
This is going to be 19, 20.
So like over that tenure there, like what was there a certain era or phase or project where like
I love this question. The come up era. And I want to say 2012, 2013 was really tough on me mentally. Yeah. I lived in Long Beach. We lived.
I was there in the Kink House era.
Kink House, and then after Kink House ended, me, Fudger, and Ryan Fudger of Rod BMX and now our BMX and Daryl lived in Long Beach, and the come up house was right around the corner. And we all knew Adam. We knew all those guys. And that era of BMX, while living in it, was tough for me personally. Now that we're 10 years later, I look back on it and I'm like, I would take that era back over the mountain bike era any day.
That's funny.
At least that was like, at least the come up era was like fucking BMX 100%. Now it's getting a little gray area, but that was a time in my career, you could say, that I was like, is this not for me anymore? Like, am I whatever? Obviously I pushed through that. And then besides that, no, I'm so thankful. Like that's what I wanted, the message I want to give to people that have a problem with BMX and industry and stuff. I'm like, just if you had any moment in it, just be thankful because there's no reason to. Like this is such a small little thing that the world does not need. And it's so important to so many people on like a passionate hobby level that if you get to experience any bit of it, whether it's a free product, a paycheck, a ticket to an event, a 20-year career, dude, ride it out and be stoked. Because I've been on the other side, and everyone else, most people live in the normal world. I don't see myself there in that normal world. I see myself like in this BMX bubble. And if you've been able to feel that for like even once or twice, like be gracious, because BMX doesn't owe us anything, and just the opportunity to experience something so different that like 99.9% of the people could never even fathom, like they don't even know what it is and never even heard of it. That's so special. So special.
You literally said what I was going to say. So BMX doesn't owe you anything?
Exactly.
And you said it. There's so many people out there that think BMX owes them something.
Yeah, I mean, as a team manager, I know.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
And I want to preface everything that I'm saying is I understand I'm in a completely unique situation, and I've been receiving like a paycheck, whether it's big or small, regardless, but a paycheck from BMX, and like not everyone is in my position where you have almost a little bit of job security or whatever. Pro riders have a totally different angle at this, and disgruntled people, employees or flow riders, whatever it is. Of course, I come from a very optimistic angle. However, I created that angle for myself. It didn't, it's not like it was just handed to me. And which is another message I want to relay is that, and this is something that Matt said to me, and a lot of other people say too, but Matt has always preached that BMX is what you make it. And I think you can make it as good or bad, or as happy or sad, or as positive or negative as you want it to be. And most people have a positive affirmation towards it, but it seems like a lot of people that have had an experience with it, and the experience didn't go the way they wanted to, they come away with it with kind of a negative attitude. And that angle is hard for me to see.
It is surprising sometimes. I get a lot of industry people, and it is surprising sometimes when they tell me about, this person or that pro, be like, oh yeah, that guy, he's X. Like, what, really?
Yeah.
Like because some people are really, really good at social media, and then you hear behind the curtain, they're just like not the person they're. Go figure. People aren't the person they put out on social media, right? Like, but partially that's their job. Really, is to be someone on social media.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends who they are. Yeah, what kind of. Yeah, I don't know. Career, how they handle themselves, how they promote themselves. Yeah, of course, not everyone's going to be the way that you thought they were, especially with social media. And never meet your heroes or never meet your idols is
Kyle always says that.
Thing. It is a thing, but it's also, it's a pessimistic way to look at things. And being from Rochester and being from the East Coast in general, like we are like just a pessimistic people. But Rochester BMX kids, at least in my era, and I believe the guys before me, just like, we're haters. And like we had like a pretty negative.
You don't got to tell me I'm from Jersey, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So like pessimistic view. And as I've gotten older and I don't know, grown up in this whole thing, I've become more optimistic, tried to be more optimistic about everything, but more importantly, BMX in general. Like, just,
yeah, I'm with you, dude.
And the older I get, the pessimism towards BMX, like, it just kills me. It kills me because people can't separate BMX and like the industry, or BMX and their experience with a small part of it. And that, for me, I've been able to separate that. Like BMX, if I get fired tomorrow and someone blows up Kink, BMX doesn't suck. And that situation sucked or whatever, but BMX as a whole, I believe that's something people need to kind of step back and get some perspective on before there's too much negativity being thrown around. Just the optimism is a lot more healthier than the pessimism.
Yeah, when I obviously I'm not the same person I was when I moved here 13 years ago this week.
Me too, 100%. Yeah. If anyone listening to this is probably knew me when I was 15 or whatever, like, yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm 38 now.
Oh, we're the same age. Yeah, when I came here, God, in Jersey, everyone's kind of a dick.
Well, let's just get that out there. when you came here,
Yeah.
the only problem I've ever had with you as an East Coaster who's also like a raw attitude, opinionated hater guy, you could say. I thought you came here and were like kind of divisive and like that was it. Like that was the only like that.
Well, I came here from Jersey where it was like even your friends were jerks to you. Like I remember like Cork kind of like, shout out Cork, he's the man. He was just like,
Love Cork.
Why are you kind of a dick? I'm like, what do you mean I'm a dick? He's like, well, because in Jersey, if you land the trick and you don't land it clean, your friends don't clap. They don't care. They're like, you're going to do that again, right? So like I came here and everyone's like way more optimistic and way more friendly. And I had to like pull it back a bit, you know? And in Jersey,
I think we were shocked by the coreness that came from Jersey because we were like, damn. Because we were pretty pessimistic. And we were like,
part of it's like the whole Jersey, there's a lot of spots, a lot of crews, and it's just like nobody owns the streets, right? Like, like
see, in Rochester, that was different.
Yeah.
No one owned the streets, but it was such a small. At one time, or for like 5 years, the whole scene lived in one house together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Was it my house?
Well, no, before that, we all lived. Yeah, well, yeah. But before that, we had like 4 houses before that. So it was a small thing because it's Rochester. It's a tiny little city. And we never were really close with Buffalo. And there was not much happening in Syracuse, and Albany's kind of far. And obviously, New York City is like another planet from here. So Rochester's always been such a tight-knit, from my experience, such a tight-knit group of riders because the group before us were like had the forward guys. They had the warehouses going. There were indoor parks. They kind of had a community going. And then in my era of it, which is, let's call it 2005 to like 2010, we all lived together. Literally like at any moment, there was like 5 to 11 of us living off of Goodman or Monroe or on Park Ave in the South Wedge at the Hungerford. So it was a really tight knit thing. So that was and we were like had our own attitudes and all this stuff. But yeah, I think when outside people came from here, it was maybe didn't realize how small it was or how tight it was.
Dude, Jersey. Okay, our timelines line up really similarly. Like I started.
We're the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age.
You're 38 too.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I started. We started going to Philly in probably 2003 or 4.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was that young and riding Philly, or anywhere you ride, you see a kid on a BMX bike and you're like, "Holy shit, dude! Are we? It's stepbrothers. Do we become best friends?"
Yeah.
But by 2010. You see someone riding down the street in Philly, and they don't even freaking look at you.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it was like, hide your wife, hide your kids. Hide your spots. Don't tell anyone. Don't let anyone know what you filmed until the video gets out.
Yeah.
And even like my brand breaking free came from trying to split off from like the friends groups I had in Jersey that were way too, they're territorial, and it was like you got to do this, you can't do this. There
was a lot of division.
These like narrow vision of what BMX is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then I came here and it was like way more laid back.
And it's weird because at a point, that's good because that means there's a lot of riders. And it means everyone's kind of doing their own thing. There's little sub communities and sub worlds. So that's cool. It sucks that with the more people, there's going to be division. This is how humans work. Yeah. So when you came to Rochester, you saw a smaller community of everyone kind of on the same page. It's a lot more. Yeah. A lot more. I don't know. Inviting.
I wanted to go back to something you said earlier about like people's particular vision of BMX. There's like this romanticization of particular eras of BMX or particular skate parks. They romanticize
the era, yeah.
Yeah, and I learned that pretty quickly when I got into the skate park business. It's like when I opened this park, a lot of people didn't like it, and they were like, "Dude, Rasp is way better." But when we were at Rasp, a lot of people were like, "Screw Rasp, Extreme Skate Park was better."
If you're talking to a Rochester local, I mean, we grew up with 2 versions of Extremes. Yeah, arguably in the top 5 skate parks built in America like ever. In my biased opinion, the first one, I mean,
that's exactly my point. Whatever you come to your golden era or you come to fruition in BMX, whatever it is, people romanticize that, and it is forever the best, regardless of what it is.
For sure.
In this scenario, Extremes was totally epic and one of a kind, and one of the very first skate parks to ever do that.
For Jaden, for example, Rasp or Breaking Free is his Extremes. And for right now, whoever the kids are that are at breaking free, that's their extremes.
Yeah.
And that's something that as you get older, you have to deal with, not deal with, but understand, gain perspective, and have the conversation that we're just having right now.
And people do that with eras of BMX, and I know I said earlier 2010 seemed like the sweet spot, and I think I can make a fair argument for the evolution of the media and the components and whatnot. But no matter what, whenever you were that 19 years old or whatever it was, you're gonna pick that was the best version of BMX,
for
right?
sure.
So in your job, you have to be like, you got to keep. We're moving to the next version every year.
One thing that's important to me is perspective, and is that I just hope that the kids, I don't know, let's just take Jack Miller's cinema kid for UK shredder. That's he writes for cinema. He's staying with me. He's 19, young kid, trendy, whatever. I just hope that they're having the same feelings and emotions or whatever that I had when I was experiencing that era that we're talking about, that we think was the best. My hope is that feeling isn't lost because the era is different. So I try to do things that from that I grew up idolizing, and kind of hopefully they can experience that too and have that same feeling. For me, that's doing trips, filming videos, whatever it is. Taking kids to a new city, taking them out to places off the BMX bike. Like, I just want BMX riders to feel the same way that we felt. And the way that we talk about our era of BMX, our mid-school era, whatever, I hope in the future that the kids talk about their era like that. And obviously we'll disagree with them because our era was better for this reason, that reason. But overall, I just hope that they are talking about eras like we're talking about our era. And it's our responsibility to make sure that their current era is cool and is fun and is exciting and stimulating and memorable.
The pace of everything makes that more challenging, I think.
That makes it nearly impossible sometimes, but
And I advocate, I've talked about this in the podcast 100 times when I had Alan Prizzuti on and everything I tell the kids, we're up here in Rochester, drive down to New York City, just park your car somewhere and ride around. Like, the experience is better than the clips. Like, the clips get faded into the internet forever. I say, go experience new places. I say, even if you're doing Instagram stuff, make a compilation and then put that somewhere on a Google Drive or on a DVD, or just have a hard copy somewhere. Because when you're 45 and you're telling your kid who's finally old enough to understand that, I used to do all this. Show me, Dad.
Here it is.
Instagram's gone. Like, remember before YouTube, there was Google Video, and the first bike DVD I was in was on Google Video, and it got lost to the internet. There's like one version of it on YouTube where it's probably like not even 480, and the sound is off by like 10 seconds, and you can kind of watch it, and it's like just gone forever.
Yeah. So I just hope that kids come away, that BMX kids now and in the past and in the future have the same pleasant or memorable life views and experiences with their era as we did, coming from the best era. And that's what we did with Project X. I don't know if we did this Project X video. It was like a Road Fools. Do you know what I'm talking about? Project X.
Nope. Sorry, dude, I don't watch anything anymore.
We did like a big like Road Fools style trip through Gig. So I have do you know I own a BMX shop in Barcelona?
Yes, I know that.
So the Cut BMX. Yep. So I co-founded a BMX shop with my buddy. My buddy he runs the show. But we did a big video project in 2023. We did like, you fucking hear about this video project? Project X, guys.
I don't follow anything BMX anymore, period.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. But anyway, so we did this big project, and that kind of, it was kind of like a Road Fools homage type of thing.
That's awesome.
24 guys on the trip, 14 riders, 3 filmers, 2 shooters, 4 vans. It's online for you now. Watch it. You're gonna love it.
I will watch this.
It's literally made for you.
For me?
I mean, anyone like 30 plus, like it's their favorite video.
That sounds awesome.
But why we did it was to give younger kids, the opportunity to see stuff like that and get stoked. If they're not into it, that's fine. But we want it to exist. We want stuff from stuff that made me stoked. We want it to still exist in the case that it gets kids as stoked as it got us. because the stuff that we saw in the past, whether it was video projects or music that was being used or events that happened, that's why we're sitting here right now. And, you know, stuff that happened 25 years ago. So the stuff we do now as a brand with Kink or in BMX in general, or the conversations we have, my hope is that it hits people in a way that allows them to go find a path or whatever it is. The same way that stuff did for me a long time ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, it's about the experiences, not the clips. It's not about the likes and the comments. It's about the memories and the experiences.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, when all this, I'm where I'm at now, it has nothing to do with likes or comments or any of that stuff, but all of that stuff has been a part of it. Sidebar, watch Project X.
Yeah,
you're really going to enjoy it. I promise.
Someone in the chat said that you're totally right. It was Road Fools 2025.
Yeah, I mean, it was an homage. We mentioned this in the video. It's very clear that we're like, well, I think the beginning of the video starts out with like, this video is like a blueprint from the forefathers before us type thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's an homage to Road Fools. It's a classic road trip video. We took all these guys from Barcelona to Berlin. And
in Europe.
Yeah, it was a beast.
Well, you had me until you told me it wasn't in America.
The next one is if we do another one, which is trying to be worked out right now, it's going to be in the States. But financially, it had to be in Europe for a million different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 1,000 different reasons. But
did you have American kink riders over there for it?
We had from Kink was Casey Starling from America. Harrison came, but he came for Animal. Because like 20 brands sponsored it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like a whole huge.
So it's more like a mega tour.
Well, we took a rider from each brand.
Okay.
And there were 14 riders. So yeah. But there were a bunch of Americans. Garrett was there. There's just a bunch of there's riders from everywhere. We brought riders from Australia. We brought one of the Alive dudes, Dragon, from Japan. Yeah, it was just a crazy trip.
Speaking of Garrett, who's better, Garrett or Dennis?
Better, like at riding?
Yeah, who's better? Isn't that terrible?
I don't know, bro. They're both the GOATs.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, I mean, I want to have an answer like, well, Garrett can ride ramps. Can Garrett ride ramps as good as Dennis?
Probably not, but he's pretty damn good at riding ramps, though.
No, he's one of the best. I mean,
yeah. He's
kids don't know. Like the Garrett I grew up with, he was a ramp kid. All these guys that the kids like. Your favorite street rider was my favorite transition ramp rider. AK, fucking Garrett.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to Incline Club when I was 14, 15, 16. I used to see Scotty and Garrett every weekend. Yeah.
Of transition riding. What time? How are we doing here?
Oh, I sent a text. We are 53 minutes in.
All right. Okay. Dennis could obviously ride like a feast style course and destroy the thing. Big transfers, double whips.
Crazy. Yeah.
Can Garrett do that? Yeah.
If you wanted to, yeah, probably.
Yeah. So that's why they're the same.
Yeah. All right.
It's tough, you know.
I just had to throw that in there because I ask everyone that, and it's like I always say I want to say Garrett because he's
could
Dennis
from my do
area.
The technical street stuff that Garrett does?
Yeah, probably. I would think so. Yeah.
I mean,
really good.
Not take anything away from Garrett, but I don't know. I don't know.
When Dennis did that 30 for 30 video,
yeah, I mean
that was so crazy because it wasn't like 30. It was like 30 absolutely legitimate tricks.
If you took all their street footage and compared it, and all their transition footage and all their dirt footage, it would be like this. They would both win, I think, and it would be different.
Yeah, Garrett's deadline part was pretty crazy.
Now, as far as influence, like Garrett's the most. One of the most influential. His riding, not just street rider, but just his, from the way he dressed to his bike to his riding to his.
Dude, when I first met him, he was like how Jaden was when I moved here. Like they didn't have 18-inch bikes back then, really, so he was like too small for a 20.
Well, Garrett went to Extremes back in the day,
really?
With the little full face. He was probably 8 or 9.
Yeah,
he could have been 7.
I remember he had giant. I don't remember if they're UGP shorts or UGP knee pads, but he had like cargo shorts, knee pads, full face helmet, and this little kid was like Aaron, like over my head. You remember the original Incline Club? You had that main quarter that had a slight hip into it,
oh yeah,
and just like over my head, and I was like, God damn, dude.
I'm gonna be thinking about the Garrett Dennis thing now.
All right.
But
Anyway, I mentioned earlier, I think you said something about like making it sound like mysterious about how it works behind the curtain. Can you just give me like a framework of how sponsorship works? And you can make this kink centric in general. Just give me a rough idea of what does being sponsored mean
yeah,
as a team manager, and lay out a framework or like what would a path to sponsorship be
Right.
for a young rider if
Yeah,
that's what they want to do.
I'm gonna talk about for kink because
Okay.
every team or group or brand does this differently. I don't think a lot of them do this well.
Ooh, shots fired.
Not shots fired, but I mean, I think brands could do a lot better job of making their teams more important.
Okay.
Because I do think it's an important aspect of this culture and for younger kids and stuff, and for the brands. But basically with kink, that falls on me, and I just look for people. I'm always looking, always looking, but I'm also not looking at the same time. Like anyone that's been added, anyone that I put on is very organic. It has to feel right. I have to I don't know. It's just,
So I can't mail you my VHS sponsorship
please
tape?
don't. But I do watch all of them. Like,
Do people mail like sponsorship tapes to kink?
No mailing, but they send links on
Yeah.
Instagram every day. And sometimes people get my emails. What happens now is everyone sends cover letters, like a resume.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
With links and contest placings and all this stuff.
That's very
Because
interesting.
I get contacted a lot from agents for all the Olympic guys, all the park guys. Most of them aren't sponsored by anybody. And if you're not sponsored by Hyper or Snafu in that world, I mean, you're looking for a sponsor basically. I mean, the couple guys, Bruce got Huffy. Like, there's not much going on for sponsorships at that high level for bikes. So yeah, agents hit me up all the time for stuff like that, and obviously that's just it's not really the vibe that
I wouldn't think that's really on your
we
brand.
go with. But at the same time, kink and me personally, like, we love all aspects of BMX. Like, that's why we've always liked to have guys that ride skate parks. Like Jaden was like our skate park guy. Right now with Santi Laverde is like our dirt guy, skate park stuff, trails. I've always been a huge fan of people that ride everything. I call them like classically trained BMX riders.
That's a great term.
Yeah, like they were classically trained like to ride BMX. And
Yeah, there's a
riding
bunch of new school guys that can't air a quarter pipe.
Now BMX is very divided. You ride 2 out of the 4 disciplines or whatever, one, or you literally dislike the other ones, whatever. But me personally, looking at riders that I think are good and not only marketable but like productive, they can ride everything. So I do like kids that can ride everything. Obviously, kink doesn't have all riders that can ride everything, but for sure that's something I look for in guys and girls. Is just a good view of what you're doing on your bike. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like I look for people that I like, that I think have cool style, that I think other people would be into. Just like it's such a weird little nuanced thing that we do.
Yeah.
And that I do, and it's hard to really pinpoint. Like, that's why I think some guys have a problem with not having enough structure or enough information or enough details or whatever the case might be. It's because this is not this world. This world is this, at least mine, works off of like feelings, styles, changing trends and patterns and attitudes and a million different little things from what kind of shoes you wear, how big is your fucking foot look how dumb does your big foot look on your pedal, what is your style off your bike, marketability. There's so many things. Does everyone else on the team can you get along with people? Can you get along with me? Can you live with me? I have people in the stuff we do for guys and girls is a lot, whether it's housing or visa help or financial help. It's like, are these people that are going to be a part of my life? There's a ton of stuff that goes into it, and some of it's emotional, So it is really hard. There's no like clear cut. There's not a piece of paper that I can give someone with the bullet points. You know what I'm saying? And I always tell people, like, if you to get to a point of being sponsored, to get free product, to get a paycheck and all this stuff, the amount of things that have to line up are insane. And it's real, it's possible, but it is insane. That part you cannot be worried about. You have to be worried about riding, having fun, progressing if that's what you want to do, traveling if that's what you want to do, going to contests if that's what you want to do. And if the rest of the stuff comes with it, perfect. If not, you got BMX still. And people say this all the time. Kano just posted this clip that Sebasti said this the other day. Like, I've been a huge proponent of that. Like, do what you do. Like, you're doing this podcast if no one's listening, right? So that's important. That is a very important thing. So if you get sponsored by someone, or you want to get sponsored by someone, and you do or you don't, that is not important to the BMX aspect side of things. You still have BMX. You can still ride. You still enjoy it. The extra stuff that comes with it, me sponsoring you or whatever it is, that is a lot more complicated. You know, BMX is easy to enjoy. It's easy to go out and ride. Growing in this, getting sponsors, getting help, getting here and getting there and doing this is complicated. And a lot of it, like a lot of things in life, can be who you know. It can be first impressions that were made. It can be so many different things. It can be rumors. It can be information that's not even true. There's just, it's a very complicated process to get to the point of being sponsored, I think. So if you do, to anyone out there, just like enjoy it for one, because it's difficult. It's very difficult. And yeah, a lot of people, you know, especially if being in Rochester, it's hard to be on any radar. So a lot of people from Rochester have been fortunate enough to have Kink here, which helped them, you know, get to that next level. You know, if they had to do it without Kink here, it'd be a lot more difficult. And that's what most kids have to deal with. That's the reality for most kids. They don't have a BMX company in their backyard. But yeah, for me, going back to the original question of me, what am I looking for? It's really, it's just so many different things. But a lot of it just comes down to my personal taste, personal feeling, what I like, what I see is cool for Kink, what I see kids being into, where I see BMX going, what kind of type of riding is happening at the time, what kind of plans we have for the future. Can you be involved in that or not? It's just so much stuff.
So you want them to be self-promoted, basically, right, through their social media, because if they don't even have social media, how are you going to find them, right?
If they don't have social media, then they're not going to be a very good marketer.
Yeah.
And if you're not marketable, it's tough for a brand to sink marketing dollars into.
Yeah. So you're looking for something that looks organic and natural, and you're kind of self-promoted and kind of on your own trajectory. Yeah,
I mean, for sure, we what I've told people is, you know, we want to support you doing whatever it is you want to do. So if you want to go here, do this, like we're a small part of the support that makes up you as a BMX rider. We are not 100% of it.
Yeah. So in the podcaster, like, influencer world, there's you know what audience capture is?
Yeah.
So when it comes to BMX, like, obviously if someone does get sponsored or gets kicked up a notch in sponsorship, to some degree they have to play to the audience, right? Because they're trying to market bike parts. But is there too far? Like, are there riders who are trying way too hard when they're, you know, like,
for sure.
What is trying too hard? Like, when you see someone's, you know, they're over tagging you too much, or like, what are the things you see where like this dude's like trying to play to the audience way too much?
I mean, honestly, it's as simple as like, if someone's doing something that I personally was like, ooh, that's weird or cringy or whatever, then like that's it. Like that's pretty, like, I don't know. Like that's kind of sometimes as far as that would go. Like everyone's different on social media. There's guys like Nathan Williams, for example, who's pretty good on social media, but he does it his own way. He's not really in your face. He's not too cringy. He's not marketing too much on there, but he's grown, blah, blah. And there's other guys like, I don't know, it's guys like, see, the guys that are most popular on social media and do the most, they're not necessarily the most successful BMX guys. Doesn't mean they're necessarily getting like good paychecks or doing the most. So it's hard to say that like that's what you're supposed to do. But it isn't the social media aspect of being a pro bike rider is obviously like massively important right now.
There's a really interesting phenomena when it comes to being on social media where if you're bad at talking to a camera, it's cringy. But if you're really good at talking to a camera, it's also cringy.
It's true, yeah.
So like there's like this weird, like you need to be 70%, 80% good at talking to the camera.
Yeah, I mean,
know?
it's humans are complicated, not in BMX, in just life. Like, it's the same thing, like, I don't know. People talking shit about wearing a certain type of shoe brand, but then like if that shoe brand is going to pay you $100,000 a year, you're going to say no.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
course.
like humans are a complicated species, and and that's true in BMX, in the industry, and in social media, and in every other part of the world as well.
When I make my videos, if I'm trying to make more like a broader audience, hopefully this goes viral video, I like kick up the animation in the voice and talk more like that style.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't do that in most of the videos, but it's like very obviously like you're playing a role and you gotta pick that right lane, you know?
Well, so that's an interesting thing that we talk about all the time with Kink is how far do we want to go? How far do we want to stray from who we are to appease the general public / algorithm? Mm-hmm. And the answer is not very far because we're not really.
Yeah.
We don't lean into the and not many BMX companies do, but that's because we're BMX riders. We don't all like BMX and BMX brands don't always do what they should be doing because they would probably, because that's what all the other industries are doing. They do what they want, like think is cool still. And we very much like, I don't want to say limit ourselves, but we very much dictate how, like what we do and how we do it by how we feel and how we think, like, is it cool or not cool? Not like, is this numbers going to get us, you know, what do the numbers say? Do it. But how do we feel like with our gut? Nah, let's lay back on that. It's a balance you have to strike.
But what about those email surveys I got from Kink where I asked you what kind of music I listen to in bike videos?
Yeah, what about them?
I don't know. That's not using data to influence your decision making? But same thing. There's a happy medium.
Yeah, it's a happy medium. Like, would it be cringy to send one of those out on Instagram every day or whatever? Probably, yeah. But
email is the right place.
But once a year for the email, yeah. I mean,
I love data, so I think that's cool. And if you set out the same survey every single year and you could show me 10 years of evolving BMX trends, on paper would be so sick.
But no, you bring up an interesting point. If I'm me and I don't work at Kink and I get an email from Kink about a yearly customer survey, I might be like, lame.
What's worth the free cranks is worth a couple questions.
Well, see, I mean, it's pretty cool. But yeah, maybe there is a part of me that would be like, oh, that's lame. I thought these guys were like cool and they're sending out customer surveys. That's lame. So like, that's a decision that we're like, no, the customer this is important, but vlogging on TikTok every day is not, you know, whatever. There's a balance that has to be struck. And it's really difficult sometimes to strike that balance, whether it's trends on social media or it's whatever's happening. There's a balance that needs to be struck in everything we do, from riders we represent to products we make to the pricing we put them out at to the people we market them to the events we do to where we do them. There's a balance to everything, and normally not a budget big enough to support that balance.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the algorithm. The algorithm it's kind of dangerous. It's not dangerous in that sense. Like,
it's so dangerous.
I don't think it's fair to call any industry that relies on a algorithm behind a closed door as a free market.
Right.
So when it comes to influencers, YouTubers,
well, I don't think it's a free market anymore. You have to pay to play.
Well, yeah. I guess you could say that. But if you don't know what the algorithm is and you have to just trial and error to figure it out, and then one day it can suddenly change, like that's a dangerous game to play. It could be a very costly game to play. So it makes a lot of sense to not put too many eggs in one basket. No,
for sure. And that goes back to too, like that's just not what. It's just we're not those type of guys to go all in on one thing that's super current. That's just not. That's not how I am as a person. That's not my personality. That's not Matt's personality. That's not the guys that we're all like. We have our own way of doing things and of going about our business and how we want to move. And that's just never been. It's been more balanced, more analytical, critical, work off of feelings, emotions, like instead of like let's do this no matter what it looks like. It's the numbers say to do it. We've never been that. We never had that attitude towards moving forward.
Cool. So what's the sponsorship structure look like at Kink, right? Pro-Am, Flow, hooked up, like what is it?
Yeah, so we have like the pro team. All the pro guys get paid. Nobody makes $500 a month. That drives me nuts. That's like the one thing every podcast on the planet loves to. Every BMX guy, everyone, $500 a month, that's your paycheck. That's just not true. And if that is true...
Is it because the range is wider, or is that too high? Is that too low? Like, why is that not true?
If you're a rider and you've been riding for this company for a really long time or whatever, and you're taking $500 a month and you're not happy about it, that's on you. That's the deal that you agreed to. It seems like on these podcasts, whenever everyone has $500 in their, that's like the number in their head. All you get is $500. That's the limit.
Okay.
Not true.
but generally, is that like what they expect? I don't know. I don't listen to any. I don't know anything about this.
With Kink, no.
Okay.
If you ride for S&M and FIP, maybe. Okay. Generally, if you ride for Fly, apparently, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Well, why don't you give me, based on like your industry experience, if you were, say, on a pro team, what's what the minimum and the maximum, and by maximum I mean like what do the top guys in the world make from a frame sponsor?
Somewhere between $3,000 to $6,000 a month.
Okay, and like bottom end, other pros
1,000.
that don't get paid?
If they're not good at negotiating their deals, they're not much of a pro. If they're not getting paid,
Who's
paying? How are you a pro if no one's paying you to do the thing?
I guess you're not. Well, I mean, some people would just have their name on a website that says pro, so they could say they're pro. I don't know.
See, that's what I was talking about earlier with team managers and brands not doing the best job at making this a real thing.
Yeah.
It's that. What's a pro? Well, it's not a mystery. Do you get paid? Does someone pay you to do what you do professionally?
Then you're professional. Okay. So you're saying $500 a month is low?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very surprising.
No, see, a lot of we're talking about Kink though.
Okay.
But because there's a lot of bad talk among all this in BMX, especially right now, about how low there's no money in BMX and you can't get paid. You don't get paid anything, whatever.
So is it the salty guys that didn't get paid and didn't handle their contracts well that go around talking about it, and then everyone says, yeah, this is how it works?
Yes.
That checks out.
Because, yeah, I mean, everyone has their own experience with it. But let's go back to Kink. Kink has a pro team. We pay everyone as best as we possibly can every year. I get a salary budget. It's one big number, and I cut it up.
It's your job to figure that out.
Yeah, every year I get a budget for how much I can pay the pro team, how much we can spend on team travel, and this is for Kink and for cinema. It's separate. So there's they're separate. So we get a number every year, and yeah, I chop it up and do the best that we possibly can with it.
Are most contracts like 1 year?
Depends. No, so Nathan's had multi-year contracts. Most of the guys we like to have in multi-year contracts because I want them to know we're in it. We're investing in this. This isn't just a short-term thing.
Do you think it'd be good for BMX if contracts were more public? I'm really involved in the disc golf world, as lame as that sounds, and it's like a really contentious thing in that sport where some companies will announce we sponsored so-and-so to 10 years, 10 million or whatever, and then other companies don't.
Yeah, it'd be good for Kink.
And it's like people say, it's probably good for the industry because obviously now that if there's agents in the industry, the agents have a feel for it because they're working out other deals. So they have they have some benchmark data, but a lot of riders out there don't know. Maybe they are getting...
No, most riders don't know.
Yeah.
And the riders that do know, most of them have a bad experience, so they don't know. They had what they think is bad about BMX is actually they just had maybe they had a bad sponsor.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the pro guys, these guys get paid. This range can be anywhere from Kink's anywhere from $1,000 a month to multiple thousands of dollars a month. Some guy, depends the rider, depends.
Yeah. You don't gotta go too specific.
Yeah, it depends on all kinds of things. But and then we have our amateur team. which those guys don't receive monthly checks, but we do help support them. I support them in like, I don't know, every way possible, whether it's travel, money for random stuff, rent for that month, whatever it is, visas to go somewhere, whatever it is. The AM team has travel support and other support, like it's not just like travel stuff. And then we have a list of riders all around the world that ride for Kink in their like respective countries. I call it the world team, just so that the AM team isn't like 100 people long. But and the same thing with those guys. We give some of those guys support. Those guys supported by some distros. And we just try to keep everyone updated with product, apparel, going to events, doing all that stuff. So all total, there's probably 30 to 40, less than 50 people that I kind of have all over the world that I'm in touch with about product, about stuff in their scene, in their communities, about the distros they work with, about a million different things. But the pro guys are at the top. I think there's 5 right now. They catch a paycheck. And back to the paycheck stuff, it's different for every brand they're in, and Kink is a frame sponsor, which is a different pay scale than I would say a part sponsor would be, or any of that
frame
stuff.
More or less?
More.
Okay.
Yeah, like even though the riders don't ride as much of that physical product because it's just a frame. In general, and it's always been this way for whatever reason, a frame guy's riding frame fork bar and cranks ideally. And that's generally the sponsor that would be like responsible for the brunt of their paycheck if they don't have like a shoe sponsor or sports energy. And then the part sponsors generally like a little bit smaller. Part sponsorships is where you're getting into the $500 to $1,000 people complaining type of stuff. But that's because they don't have other sponsors. A huge thing that kids miss nowadays where they say there's no money in BMX and brands don't pay enough. You're supposed to have like 5 sponsors, all paying you $1,000 a month. That's how this is like.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. If that's not happening, that's a you problem. Like that's not on the brand. That's not the brand's fault. It's not BMX's
marketing.
fault. Yeah, it's not BMX's fault. It's not the brand's fault. So each brand tries to give their guys as much as they can, for the most part, in hopes that they're also getting that same support.
Yeah.
If you're sponsoring someone as a pro bike rider, for example, you would expect other companies to be interested in sponsoring them as well for other stuff.
And I would imagine once you're sponsored, you look more sponsorable,
right?
Especially if you handle that relationship with grace.
Exactly. And if you're sponsored by one brand and no one else is sponsoring you, how sponsorable are you?
Or when you see a notable, really talented rider go from brand to brand to brand to brand, you start to think, ooh, what's going on there,
And unfortunately, that's like an ugly side to all of this, but it's a reality that there's value placed on riders, and there's investments made, and there's a lot of stuff that is real. It's not emotional or like a thought, or you can agree or disagree. It's real. There's dollars and cents being invested. There's real stuff happening. So, yeah, it's just different.
Going back to like payment in other sports, typically there'll be salary, royalties, and incentives, and they can be. I've heard in other sports some contracts where it's like no guaranteed money, all incentives, or like low salary, travel, and royalties. Do you think that changes a lot brand to brand, and what's it look like with Kink wise?
I think it changes a lot brand to brand because brands come up with their own different
There's
schemes.
just so many ways you could do that.
They come up with their own schemes, try to save money, try to get guys to do more stuff.
To make their own money, yeah.
Yeah. But no, Kink's always been, you get a monthly salary, regardless if you're hurt or if we're mad at each other or if you haven't ridden or if you're killing it, whatever. You get your monthly salary, and then you get royalties on signature product. Kink's actually always been on the higher end of frame royalties. And
what's that, like a % or a flat rate?
A flat rate per frame.
Okay.
Per frame sold. And then it's pretty straightforward. We're Kink in particular is relatively like, I think, a low pressure situation, because you have your paycheck, and we want you to just do you, basically. We've kind of always ran it that way, and always hoped that the guys had enough respect for us to do the best job that they can, and we have enough respect for them to do the best job we can for them. But yeah.
Have you heard of just purely incentive-based contracts, or are there any incentives in kink contracts?
We used to do like video contingency when
views or whatever.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. But it depends on what's happening at that point in time in the world as far as like how people are consuming media. But as far as like this moment, we don't have big incentives for that stuff because there's not really a reason to at the moment. Like we could incentivize people to post. For example, our router's contract says like, make X amount of posts a month, tag this, do this, do this, do this. If they don't do it, what are we gonna do? Kick them off? I'm not gonna kick them off the team. I was gonna kick Nathan Williams off the team because he didn't make 4 posts on his Instagram last month.
Obviously there's gonna be a little bit of flexibility, but there has to be a certain point where you have to step in and be like, hey, dude.
Of course.
I'm sure you've had to have done that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. That's the uglier part of the job. But yeah,
when you pick up one rider and you give him a single frame, and then a year later he's gone.
Yeah, so we don't have incentives, but we have expectations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if the expectations aren't met or even close to met, then probably the relationship's not going to last.
Have you had riders you sponsored, like paycheck sponsored, and been like, well, that was totally the wrong decision, bad call, should have never done that?
No, I mean,
there's never been any of those. Never, not once.
Totally wrong decision. I mean,
not totally wrong.
I've had things end the way I didn't expect them to end. But totally wrong decision? No, absolutely not. No regrets. No. I mean, I've made decisions that if they didn't work out how I thought they were, and if they did work out how I thought they were, it was just going to be like perfect, and it didn't work out. But I don't regret it. It just didn't work out how I panned out.
I heard once you were trying to get Enerson. Is that true?
Oh, I've tried to get Anderson like 3 times. Oh yeah.
You say pretty please?
He uses kink and me as a bargain, like a leverage for all. He's done it like 3 times. I know he has.
He's clearly a smart guy.
Oh yeah, he's not stupid. But he was close. He's been close. Really close.
That'd be so epic.
He's been really close. Fernangle was close back in the day. Curly's close back in the day. Peraza was so close. And then he won X Games. Mongoose gave him like fucking.
And you get bank, dude, bank.
I can't compete with that. Yeah, just a bunch of random ones through the years. But
do more contest oriented brands have like matching or some sort of incentive for if you win, like we'll match your prize, or like.
Well, the big like the energy drinks match 2 contests match.
They just match. That's what I always heard.
Yeah, they'll match winnings.
Every time Garrett got those X Games gold medals.
I mean, back in the day, that was a big deal. In the late 90s, early 2000s, when, I don't know, Doyle was make a big check at a contest and someone match it, it was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
But nowadays, with the park guys, there's very few big park brands, like, really investing in those guys. It's more the governments now that are investing in those guys. So I don't know what if they have. I'm sure they have big incentive. I mean, Red Bull. If you do something big for Red Bull, they're gonna.
Oh, they're gonna pay.
Yeah.
You got that Red Bull helmet. It means you're getting paid.
I'm sure their incentives are still pretty big. But for the average BMX guy right now, the incentives are probably some. I know some brands have put in their contracts like, you get this amount of money a month. If you make this amount of posts a month, you'll get this amount of money. So it's like it's on you. If you want to do the extra work, you'll get paid more. If you don't, you don't.
Cool.
We haven't really gone that route yet, because again, like we're BMX kids. We're not a big greedy corporation. Like if the guys don't do this thing, what am I going to do? I'm not going to kick the whole team, clear the whole team out because their Instagram was slow last month. But if it's slow for 2 years straight or whatever, whatever the situation is, then you got to step in. So it's not incentive, but it is expectation.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about you and your life and what it's like being a team manager, not just what a team manager does. We're already an hour and a half in, so I'll try to.
I mean, dude, we could seriously, we could go forever.
Well, we could have you back on at some point. We'll see. Like we said in the beginning, we could talk.
If there's there's anyone that can talk about BMX forever, it's me, and if there's another person, it's probably you. So
yeah. Well, I'm good until about 2012, and then I checked out. But maybe.
Why is that? BMX has only gotten better.
I,
We don't want to derail this
it's
too
just
much.
the goal,
Do you love BMX any less than you did in 2012?
I got over the politics of BMX.
But how did you get over the politics
got
not even working in the industry?
Over the subculture of politics. I mean, I've been in bike shop. This year's 20 years I've been in bike shops.
The bike shops are like supposed to be that's a community space.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Ricky calls me all the time. I've been in it for a while. It wasn't even on the industry side as much. It was just like in the, the gotta film this. You gotta do this trick. You gotta do that trick. It was just too much. It got too competitive. It's crazy now because now like song jacking doesn't matter anymore. Now ABDs don't matter anymore. Everyone's done everything. So like I just got to a point where I was just like, well, and part of it too was I was starting to get over it, and then I started the business, and once you start a business, it's like this is the new Dave. Like my whole like hierarchy of values in life just immediately flipped over because I don't care. I'm no longer filming a video part. I'm no longer like, it just doesn't matter. Like, I don't care about the likes and comments, at least in that regard, because and in hindsight, it's funny because now all the stuff I do with the skate park turns over into money, or at least something I can pay my bills. Like if I'm getting, if my social media is doing well, people are seeing me, and hopefully it turns into customers, which turns into sales, which hopefully can pay me and then support my life, versus working my ass off to film clips or do whatever for what's just clout. Right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's tough. Like it is tough because your case is similar to a lot of guys that are our age that went through our era, and it's hard to you clock out at a certain point. But I
still love the activity of BMX.
Right, of course, yeah.
Like I love when people come to town. Oh, where are you from? What's it like there? It's just I don't care about the little like micro rat race in who's doing what here and there.
Yeah.
I'm more about the experience, and I rode this week, so
I mean, that's what's important. But I mean, that's a thing too about BMX. If you don't follow it every day currently, whatever, if you clocked out last year, if you clocked out in 2012 on what's happening, you're still BMX rider. You still have everything that BMX offers, and that's what makes it a special thing to do and to be a part of.
I'm impressed you said you still ride all the time. Part of it like I tell people, don't make your biggest passion your job, because it'll inevitably suck some of the passion out of your passion.
That's a good point, but I also think that's a problem in BMX now. There's not enough people and kids have so many, there's not enough people that are solely dedicated to this life. And that's how BMX got to where it was in the 90s and the early 2000s. And that's how I got to where my life is right now, and how a couple people I know are the same. I feel like there's just not enough. There's not enough people like you that stayed with that passion for it. You got frustrated with it, or decided, moved on, or grew, whatever it was. There's not enough people solely, and I might add unhealthily, dedicated to just BMX and everything that there is that goes into it. There's people that work for the brands. Those people are getting older. We need more people.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it's not healthy. And like you said, it's do other stuff, kid. Like, I think more kids now, like in our era, like BMX, it was just BMX. That's all we cared about, whatever. Kids nowadays, the younger kids, they have all kinds of interests. They're like, Robbie told me this the other day, we were talking, and he's, kids are into BMX, but they're also into like other things too.
That's
and
very, very true.
When we grew up, like, this was only thing I cared about.
Yes, it was BMX and other subculture, countercultures, punk rock, hardcore, hip hop, whatever.
And everyone I know, all my friends, everyone surrounding me is that. I'm not saying that's healthy and that everyone should be like that, but that is what creates and what keeps this going, is those people. And you need those people. Not everyone is the person and is cut out to do that, but to the point of don't make your passion your job or whatever, you're 100% right.
Yeah, maybe I mischaracterized it, and maybe I even interpreted my own thoughts wrong until this very conversation. The narrative I've always told people was like, it was like me and my bike riding like the little side slope of my driveway, right? Mm-hmm. Then I found out BMX existed, and I had one friend that rode, and he had a quarter pipe, and that was like when you're 14 years old, that's like literally the coolest thing in the whole world. And Then we started working on our first videos, and it was me and our crew, right? And then the local skate park got built. Then it was like me and a general area, right? Then I started working at the bike shop. Then so I started doing events and jams, and I had a team, and there was like, okay, now I'm fostering more than just like me and my crew. It's like the whole area. Right. And at that point in time, we're talking that 2007 to 2010 range, and when like 2x4 was open down South Jersey. So I was going down to all his events, and like the Philly scene then was freaking crazy. Every premiere down there. I remember the United premiere was freaking epic. And so then I moved up here, and it was skate parks. And I was like, okay, now it's not just me and the bike riders in the scene. Now it's the skateboarders. It's everyone in the scene, right? So it's almost like the pie kept scaling up. And inevitably, when that scales up, you have to leave other parts of those lives behind. So it just felt like, I don't know, maybe if it just...
It's a natural evolution of you and your life and your life within this odd world that we live by.
Like I couldn't possibly have all the values I had then about core BMX and do this at the same time. There's just not enough bandwidth for it, It'd be like, could you run a skate park while doing all this stuff? It's like, it's not possible.
No. I could barely run a BMX shop while doing this.
And like one day I hope to be beyond, that's not the right word. One day I'll be beyond this, and I'd like to work for local government, either in politics or in the parks department, and expand to beyond just people that ride. There's everyone who just needs to be outside, because we're increasingly heading toward a culture where people not that they're not riding BMX, they're not riding bikes, they're not really doing anything. They're just like I see my biggest competition is cell phones now. And we both have to dance with the devil to use that device to try to reach that people, to try to get them off the device to ride their damn bike.
Yeah, it's ridiculous and complicated and feels impossible sometimes. But
it's crazy.
It's crazy. But dude, then I scale it back and we're like, at least I'm doing that for BMX and not for Amazon or for, you're doing that for you and for the skate park and for Rochester and for all these people. At least you're not doing it for like some company that you don't care about.
Xerox.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's what keeps me going, is that perspective. Like, you're going to have to do this anyway, because this is how the world works now. Do it for something that you still care about.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll totally get it. Like, I understand the reverberations of my actions, like, throw the rock in the pond. They're going to be here longer than I'm here. Every kid that comes to the skate park, they'll be like what you talked about, extremes. Oh, BFS was the sickest park. It's not the sickest park. Like, this place is pretty haggard, but like the kids that come here love it.
Yeah,
all they know.
That's the important part, is that they have that feeling. It doesn't matter what the state of the park is. The important thing is that they walk out of the park and have the feeling that sticks with them for a really long time. Yeah.
When they have kids, they'll tell them about I met all my friends there, the New Year's Eve lock-in.
And that's a special thing that you are providing. And that is enough to keep people doing this and keep making podcasts if no one's listening, or going to a skate park when it's hard to keep it open, like stuff like that. That's the important stuff.
Yeah.
And that stuff's it's not tangible. It has to exist within.
I have a chat question actually from Jimmy,
Jimmy Bone?
Yeah. He said, were you working there when there was, I quote, a mass rider firing?
No.
He said around 2005, he said?
So, yeah, the mass rider firing was 2004. At the end of 2003, 2004. Zach did the mass rider firing. A couple of those guys are still mad at Kink. Still mad. I've talked to him myself, like, dude, I wasn't even there. And that's kind of how me and Matt got in there. Well, Matt was already working there, but when I got in there, it was kind of, Kink was dead. There was not much happening. There was no team. There was just a couple of random riders. And that was kind of my part of my gig, was like, hey, let's get this going again. And that is the point when we put a team back together after what happened, what Jimmy's talking about.
So it would have been like right after Wasted Days?
It was Cheap Thrills was the second one. Yeah, right? Yeah, Wasted Days was first.
I don't remember. I know I went to a Wasted Days premiere, and I was pretty damn young.
After the video, there was a little bit of time. Then those guys I went to Metro Jam, and they came through Usher, went to Metro Jam. Then Zach, pretty much like out of nowhere, dropped Jim Selinsky, Ian Monroe, Chris Arriaga. Those guys?
Cher?
No, not Cher.
Tibbs?
Jimmy
just said Tibbs is still salty.
Yeah, Tibbs is still salty. Tibbs won't even... I think he hates me. He doesn't even know. But yeah, and that was like a big thing back then. I was like I wasn't working there, but that was a big deal in BMX. I was a little like not quite on the inside yet, so I didn't really know enough or care because Dirty was still there and Ryan Shear was still there and Casey, and those are like the guys that really my guys that I was into. But yeah, that was a big thing. But no, I wasn't there, thankfully. I was there for the.
Why did that happen? Do you know? Like,
that's a good question for Zach's podcast. Really,
all right.
I think, I don't know, because I mean, to be honest with you, and if anyone listening to this, like Kink before 2006, before me and Matt kind of like took the reins of Kink BMX, wild. I couldn't tell you what was going on. The crazy stuff that happened, and Zach was in charge of so much stuff is probably insane. I've heard insane.
Stories, yeah. I've heard
it's just
stories.
It's crazy. So I know a lot of guys' experience with Kink before, leading up to like 2006 is way, way, way different than people's
BMX
experience
was the
after.
Wild West back then, dude.
Yeah, and Zach was also the Wild West of a human, and like, it's just people's experience before me and Matt kind of took the reins is way different than the experience that they would have had after, for better or for worse.
All right, well, you've been the team manager for Kink for a really long time, which is one of the biggest brands in the game. You've had probably what's got to be one of the coolest jobs in the world, dealing with some of the coolest people in the world. You've worked with legends of the sport. You just mentioned Casey Badger and whatnot. You've traveled the world. You've influenced the trajectory of BMX in like countless ways, right? When the day comes where you're looking back and admiring the sunset of your prolific BMX career, what will be your legacy? What will you be remembered for?
Well, first of all, thank you for those kind words. I really do appreciate that. Honestly, my legacy is a part of Kink's legacy. My whole career in BMX is because of Kink. And I'm not really that all too concerned about my personal legacy, but I am concerned about me contributing to Kink's legacy of being like the best freaking BMX brand that has existed. And everything I do in BMX, whether it's for Kink or on the outside of Kink, is to contribute to the legacy that helped to contribute. That's all helping me contribute to the legacy of Kink. Because, no one of us is bigger than BMX or Kink. And to say my legacy, like just on my own personal legacy, I'm just like a BMX kid that like is obsessed with BMX and obsessed with Kink. So it's more important to me that Kink's legacy is that it is a lot of things. It loved BMX and it respected BMX and it did as much as it could to promote BMX and to do cool things for BMX inside the city and literally worldwide. That's the legacy that I hope would be attached with me, is what I helped do with Kink. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not really concerned about my own legacy. I've never even really thought about that because everything I do is so that everyone else thinks Kink is awesome.
There's definitely an interesting duality of you and your position, where there's a lot of people in the industry that like they know you, and a lot of people have opinions about you, and it's like, but I think there's way, way, way more people that have no idea who you are, and you're just behind there like the guy in Wizard of Oz.
I'm not big on social media. I'm on Kink social media and cinema social media 24/7. But my personal social media is pretty quiet. I'm not very vocal anymore about stuff publicly. I don't put myself out there. Rotting wise, I suck at filming clips. I just get hurt. So you
do a good tabletop.
Thanks. I'm behind the scenes in a lot of ways. Yeah, I've never been super concerned with putting my face in the forefront. I've always thought people that worked for brands and put themselves in the mix with like signature products too, and it was like, damn, that's cringe as fuck, dude. That's bad.
I do like when you get when you have a clip in the Kink video or Robbie. Like, that's sick.
I love riding. I'm a BMX guy. Like, I'm still a BMX kid that wants to be a pro bike rider someday. That's what motivates. That's half my motivation for still doing this. You have to have that inside you, otherwise, you're gonna get tired. So riding wise and clips wise, I still want to film I want to have a Kink part someday. Like in my brain, I'm still like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. But so like that part of me is very much alive and well. But the part of me that needs to put my face out in front of people and make sure people know who I am, I feel like that's a lot less important than making sure they know about kink and BMX in general. Sometimes I feel like could be beneficial for me to be a little more publicly vocal, just because I have such a positive and good, optimistic look towards BMX, and I love it so much still, that I would like to share that with more people and kind of help change the narrative a little bit.
This is a great format for that, because it's really easy, especially people that already have preconceived notions about you, to just see a post and be like, oh, he's just trying to play an act. If someone were to watch this,
well, I mean, anyone that knows me knows there's no, there's no, I don't know, there's no act.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I forget what we were talking about, but
it's all good. I can see a lot of people thinking that your job is just all sunshine and rainbows and hanging out with pros and traveling.
Yeah.
So for you personally, what is like the hardest or most stressful part of your job? And then we could ice that cake back up and tell me the coolest, best part. And I will tell you, for me, I cannot deal with managing people. It stresses me out to no end. I'll have like 13-year-olds who volunteer for me, and I will stress out and like get super upset about just asking them to like take out the garbage, to the point where I just do it myself. And I'm horrifically bad at, so I just work alone.
Yeah.
But for what is that for you?
So, yeah, okay. The worst part of my job is not being able to support everybody as much as we would like want to, with like the vision that we have. The vision that I have, the vision that we have for Kink, what we want to do for riders and for BMX in general, there's just not enough money on the planet to like make all that happen. So that trickles all the way down to letting riders go, telling guys no for stuff they want to do, kicking people off team, whatever it is. That part is extremely difficult. Letting go of riders is I don't wish that upon anybody.
Yeah, it's like firing people. It sucks.
I've told Chris Doyle that it's over. I've told, like, no one, you couldn't possibly, it's.
And did that decision come from above you? Was it a group decision? Was it like a budget thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's budget, it's me, it's timing, it's so much stuff that comes together. It's health, it's so much stuff. And it comes for every single person that's ever rode BMX bike professionally. So, and someone has to do it.
Was he the hardest?
Yeah, that's the hardest one I've ever done.
For sure.
Yeah. Because some of them half of them are like the guys like, dude, I'm done. I'm like, all right, no worries. Or like, hey, this is happening. Like, I get it. And sometimes, some are bad. Some are just hard, really hard. The Hobies was brutal. Hobies was absolutely brutal. That was one of the lowest times of my life, was going through Hobies thing. Hobies was way harder than Doyle's. Let me take that back. Hobies was a disaster.
What about it was rough? Was it the situation or your personal relationship with him?
My personal relationship with him, yeah. Like everyone that rides for Kink, especially throughout the years, like, these are my brothers. We have all gone to each other's weddings. We know each other's families. We are the real deal friends, and that it's been that way since Safety First days. So yeah, when something like that happens and things start to fall apart, it's like you're losing it's a relationship, a real relationship.
It's like an actual breakup.
It is an actual breakup.
Yeah.
And it's brutal, and especially when it's people you really care about, and a lot of, obviously, to get to the point where you're having that conversation with someone, so much stuff happened that it's sad. There's a grieving process, whether you kick someone off or someone leaves the team like Dan or Jaden. It's a grieving process. That is by far the worst part of the job, because not only do I take that personally, obviously, but when stuff happens and Kink looks bad publicly, that just kills me. It really, it just kills me, because we genuinely do as much as we can for all these guys and for BMX. We do the best job we can. We don't always nail it, but when things go south, which is inevitable in any situation ever, some things are going to work out and some things are not. It's just tough. It's heartbreaking, and that's definitely the hardest part of the job. Another hard part of the job is like being so deep in BMX and having so much experiences all around the world, and I know so many people and I talk to so many people. With that being said, knowing and listening to all of the amount of kind of misinformation, misguided thoughts and stuff, that is another part of the job that's really hard to stay professional about. Like, dude, you work for a brand, you represent a brand, you can't just be getting angry and saying stuff and saying this is saying. I mean, that's a tough part of the gig, is being so on the ground floor of everything and having to understand that not everyone is there. Not everyone knows everything that's going on. Not everyone cares. Most people don't even care about everything that's going on. But I do. So that is tough sometimes I just wish everyone knew what I knew.
Yeah.
I wish they saw what I saw, you know.
It sounds like you're probably victim to the same thing that I get, where a lot of people think I'm a dick. And it's just because I'm not super outwardly friendly. Like
For sure,
like
yeah.
Stevie's here. Stevie's the total opposite of me. He's like, oh, dude,
yeah,
what's up? I'm juggling so much stuff in my head all the time. Always have been. I'm always doing this project and that thing. And now it's like at a 100x.
Yeah,
so like,
of course.
you see me at the skate park and I don't say hi. I don't give you the nice warm hi because I'm like, I got one bike in the work stand and I got to answer an email and there's 3 people here and I have a lesson in 20 minutes. And it's like, maybe people see you somewhere and they're like, he didn't say hi to me. And it's like, well, he's got 6 guys in the van and they got to be somewhere tomorrow and he's got to do this.
Yeah, imagine. And I'm just an introverted guy in general, really. I'm very introverted. I'm not super outgoing. I'm not like a big party guy. I don't like drink really. So I'm pretty chilled out, honestly. So I definitely could probably give off a vibe to people like that I have an attitude or something. But yeah, I'm just kind of like,
I've been really trying to be more.
Well, I do too. I try to put the like. Yeah, I mean, you show up at a stop. You show up if we're on trips or something, or we're riding. Hey guys, yeah. But like, yeah, that's not me. I'm pretty chilled out.
I gotta tell you, having my daughter, like, definitely softened me up a little bit. I didn't want to admit it for a while, but now it's been like a year. I don't know, just everything's more optimistic and I don't know, it just makes, like, I see, especially around kids, you're like, oh my God, look at this kid.
I do feel like the older I'm getting, I feel like I'm becoming more optimistic, or at least trying to see things like from a more positive view. I don't know why, but I guess I'm just getting older, I guess.
Yeah. So what has been the best part of your job?
The job, the
Solid.
fact that this is my job. Yeah, I mean, this is my job. Like, the best part was like, this is what I wanted to do when I was 15 years old.
And you're doing
it. And I got to do it. Well, what I wanted to do was work in the warehouse. And that my life goal was achieved like sooner and easier than I thought it was going to be. After Mega Tour 6, I got like a clip on Mega Tour 6 doing something. I could die tomorrow. I could die happy, man. So this is being here. What is it? What's today? Wednesday,
May 21st.
It's like 11 o'clock. We're not worried about what tomorrow. I mean, I don't have super big responsibilities tomorrow. I don't have a job that I go. I'm not worried about work tomorrow. Like, every day that I'm in this BMX shit. I live in Barcelona, Spain. Every day I wake up, I'm like, thank freaking God for this job. Thank God for Kink.
I thought you were going to say the traveling. Is it traveling as stressful as it is fun?
No, the traveling is that's just my life. That's part of my life. I would do that. That job has nothing to do with that.
What was the best trip? Take that any way you want to take it.
Australia, New Zealand. We went to Australia, New Zealand for like 2.5 weeks, and it was just insane. So much stuff happened socially, on the bike, off the bike, the places we were in, the people we met. That was one of the best. Is that
the video where they're at the club, Tony's in like a leather jacket or something, dancing at a club?
That was jet lag. That was in Czech Republic.
Oh, you're right.
I think he spells it out. He tries to spell it out. But that Australia, New Zealand trip wasn't jet lagged.
That's sick.
We did a month in Asia, which was special to do. We did South Korea. No, we did Thailand, South Korea, and Japan in one trip in a month. So we were on a trip for a month straight.
That's so crazy.
We did a cruise trip back in the day. I don't know if
I remember the
that.
cruise.
That was pretty ridiculous.
How'd you get Zach to agree to that?
Well, Zach doesn't. It's not like I asked Zach what he thinks about like.
Oh,
Zach doesn't.
he just gives you the budget and trusts you're gonna do it right, and you're like, we're going on a cruise. All right.
Yeah, he's. Yeah, I mean, if we had to, I couldn't imagine. Like Zach's never been since 2006. The reins have been with me and Matt.
That was the sickest era of Kink, where it's just like the brand identity of like. It was like elitist in a good way. It was like, oh, we're going on sick trips.
Well, we didn't realize until later. I didn't realize until later that some people looked at it like kind of pompous. Like we were like,
I always thought you should have leaned into it. I was like, they should just like.
I never looked at it like that. I was always because we were not fuck. It's not like we were like living. We had all this money.
Yeah,
we were fucking just making it happen. But we were going to At that time, we just were just running it. Everyone was down.
It was so different. And I said, I thought like it would have. At the time, I was like, oh, I hope they run with this and just like, we're gonna make nicer clothing to sell. Like and I meant, like I said, elitist in like a good way, because there isn't a brand that really kind of did that. That era was so cool. There was so much cool stuff happening in that era, but that
comes down to me as a team manager, the riders involved, the people at the brand. That was like, not everyone can do that. Not everyone can go on a road for a month. You know?
Yeah, it's stressful.
And then come home and then go on another trip for 2 weeks. And like it's a sacrifice, a big sacrifice to have these epic experiences. I'm trying to think. Project X was also a really special trip that you'll see when you watch this video tomorrow morning.
Sick.
Project X was a special trip, yeah.
Do you have any long-term projects, DVDs, or like the Project X plan? I guess you mentioned earlier even other Project X happening.
Well, it's not confirmed yet, but that is, we're trying to do another Project X. The bike shop for me was a big deal in Barcelona. That was opened like 4 years ago. And that has been a really cool experience. Obviously, it's every kid's dream to have like a BMX shop, and then to do that in Barcelona. I did it with one of my best friends, and it's going well, and it's been really, really important, really supportive, and productive for the scene in Europe in general. Really, we send stuff to the States all the time too. But far as now is just like till the wheels fall off with Kink stuff. Still, like we want. Budgets got smaller, obviously, through all this pandemic shit. So the main goal with us is to just keep pushing. Like we're gonna keep traveling. You're gonna see our riders at all the events. We're gonna keep putting out videos. We're gonna keep putting out the best products we can put out. Our bike collection's still gonna slap. Like that's the long-term goal for my future and for Kink's future, is just keep pushing. Like to me and Matt and all the guys in the office say all the time, like till the wheels fell off, stay the course. Like just forward, doing what we do,
That's awesome.
Going with the ebbs and flows of the BMX industry, and whether it's down or whether it's up, like we're here for it,
Do you think there's any misconceptions about the team manager role in general, or you in general?
Well, misconceptions about me, yeah, because I didn't realize I was such a what's the word? Controversial character, because in the grand scheme of the world, when I go places or whatever, generally, it's a pretty positive vibe towards me. So, if whoever all these people are that you're talking about, yes, they have some sort of I would assume they have some sort of misconstrued view of me because, I don't know. I don't know I don't have relationships with that many people. Close relationships with that many people, especially in Rochester. So, I mean, probably I'm
a firm believer that if you have haters, it means you're doing the right thing.
Well, okay, here's another thing I tell Robbie all the time. It's lonely at the top.
Oh!
It is lonely at the top, and heavy lies the crown.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm at the top, or I'm not saying anyone's at the top, but it's lonely up there. So when you have haters, when you feel isolated sometimes, but you in your heart know that what you're doing, you believe in it, and you feel good about it, it can be lonely up there.
I can totally empathize with this, because like you and I are both doing things that are very, very few people do.
Yeah.
But like everyone thinks they could do, and everyone loves to give their 2 cents. Like based on the comments on my post, you'd think there was like 1,000 indoor skate parks because everyone seems to know how to do what I'm doing better than what I'm doing, apparently.
Yeah.
You know?
No, 100%. And yeah, that's just something that you have to just like swallow because you're not doing it for them. Well, you're doing it for them, but you're doing it for you too, you know?
I would also, like, but you're introverted, I'm introverted, and there's also that like clickiness thing where like since you and your team are so tight knit, very frequently when people see a group of people that are very tight, they just see that as them not being into that,
right?
And then they immediately think it's like this,
and that's human behavior,
100%.
Yeah, and there's nothing I can do about that. And as I get older, I come to terms with more, and that's kind of the optimism that I'm trying to adapt and have some perspective about. Is, you know what? This guy thinks I'm a dick, and he thinks I'm a dick because he doesn't know me, and he doesn't know all this stuff that's impossible for him to know. So,
well, you're a dick because he's not sponsored by Kink. That's
that
why.
too, maybe. Yeah. Also, my job doesn't make it any easier for me to like just be cool with everyone all the time.
Do you ever feel like because you're the guy that sponsors people, what you get isn't genuinely how people act? They're going to act differently around you because they think, "Oh my God, this is the guy."
Well, I can tell you now, there's been people that I sponsored that I thought were my best friends and my brother, like my actual family. And when things stopped or they quit, I haven't talked to them since that day. They haven't talked to me. So it's like, yeah. So as I get older too, a lot of it's like, shit, how much, like, who's my friend? Who's just wants to be sponsored? Who's just dealing with me because they want to be sponsored? And when this is over, I'm never going to hear from them again.
Just a cheap whore.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've gone through for sure. And at a local level. So it hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough part of the gig. For sure.
That's an interesting parallel in my world where it's like there's people who I thought were my friends, and then I started this crazy, stupid skate park thing, and there are some people that I thought were my friends that didn't show up, they didn't help, they didn't contribute anything. And then after I was open, they expected to get like to ride for free because we're homies. And then there's people I never met before in my life that just showed up.
Lend a hand, swinging hammers.
Now it's almost 10 years later, and these people I'm like really, really close friends with, and they just came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, there's moments like that where you don't plan it, but you see something clearer that you didn't before. And, you know, in my life, I've had with Kink, like I said, Kink has been my life. It is who I am. So everything's tangled. I've had girlfriends and ex-girlfriends working there, designing stuff, best friends working there, everyone. Things have fallen apart, and you know, you can tell who's there when the BMX isn't involved and who isn't. It's you know, it's eye-opening and sad sometimes, but that's how it is. You know, it's nothing I can do about it, really.
A couple of weeks or months ago, I got to do a Instagram live thing that Montana set up, where he had Bob from Fiend and Robbie from Cult come on. And he was bringing in bike shops to ask questions to these owners in a public forum. So anyone that happened to be there. So like we'll put you on the spot or whatever. And I'm going to ask you what I asked them, which I got some pretty good feedback on, actually.
Far away.
And my question was, of your marketing budget, however you're going to define that. I'm sure some companies have a defined budget. Some are pretty vague. But of that budget, what % of money in your marketing budget goes to reach people who aren't already in BMX?
That's a good question. A small percentage of it.
Caleb wants to know if you're mad at him for eating half your sandwich yesterday.
No, but this is a funny story I can say real quick.
Okay.
Caleb ordered like the most ridiculous, like kind of complicated sandwich, and I ordered turkey, and cheese.
Okay.
And tomato. And our sandwiches got mixed up, and he ate half of mine before he realized it wasn't his sandwich. I was like, how's that possible? But no.
My dude was hungry.
I'm not mad at all. I would give him my sandwich any day of the week.
Okay.
He's one of my favorite guys, and he's a huge help with all Kink stuff. And I love that kid. And a shredder.
Cool.
But anyway,
so the context was, obviously my purview is not just BMX, it's everything. And I've seen the decline we've all seen in the post-COVID era, which I don't think is necessarily COVID. I think COVID exacerbated a trend in the transition to the phone-based childhood, which is ruining action sports. So I see it across the board. So I think it's bigger than BMX and it's bigger than action sports in general. It's a bigger trend. So my question was like, what are these brands doing to try to reach these kids that aren't riding? Because it seems like these companies will spend all their marketing money trying to convince the kid who has, Cult handlebars to buy Kink handlebars.
Right.
Versus trying to reach these kids, however that may be, to get on a bike who are already on a bike.
That's a great question. In the past, when budgets were bigger, more money. When budgets are bigger, more money is allocated to just that. Whether it's digital advertising, whether it's events, mostly digital advertising or events. I'd say those are the main two things that you could spend money, invest in to get people that aren't already into BMX. If it's since the pandemic, let's say in the last 4 to 5 years, that money hasn't existed at all for anybody.
Yeah.
So on top of trying to attract those types of customers, you need to also keep your current customers happy and so
it's tough because when you need it the most, it's the most risky to spend that money.
Exactly. So when I say our percentage is pretty small, but it's because the money's just not there. Like
what Bob said, he's like, "Well, we put stuff on YouTube." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure."
Hey, if that's working for Fiend, that's good for Fiend.
I'm sure people that don't ride eventually.
Wait, what do they put on YouTube? Fiend doesn't put stuff on YouTube.
I don't know, but I'm sure you put stuff on. Maybe he didn't say. Maybe he said social media. I don't know. Yeah. But you put stuff on the internet. Yeah, of course, non-riders will see it, but you're not filming that content with the intention of non-riders seeing it.
Yeah, but to answer this question like bluntly, we do advertise, digitally advertise on whether it's Google Ads, YouTube, or Instagram to people that aren't riders. Yeah. That's the easiest, most direct way to do it. But
it might be a better fit for Kink because they sell so many complete bikes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we definitely want to cater to the we want to get people into BMX and then retain them in BMX. So we have to market to those people that aren't into BMX, which costs a lot of money. And then we have to retain these people, which also costs a lot of money. Yeah. Just right now it's low. In the past, it's been more. It just really depends on the budgets.
The way I've always seen it, what people kept saying in that particular live event, which was pretty long, 2 or 3 hours, they kept saying, "Oh, do shop tours, do shop tours."
That's everyone's.
And it's like I don't. If you how is that any different? You get the 15 kids in the town or the 30 kids in the town who already ride. It's literally the same thing, but on a more local level.
Everyone's thing is shop tours. I know Brant Moore doesn't think anyone does shop tours. Brands do shop tours. We go to shops constantly, all the time on trips. I'm just going to talk for Kink, but I know other brands do this as well. We did a shop tour. We did a sessions tour 2 years ago. When people talk about shop tours, they have no idea how much it costs to do something like that.
You got to put up all those riders.
At minimum, to do a shop tour that's at the level that we expect to be doing stuff at, you're going to spend let's say 10 grand right now in this world, 10 grand. Are you going to get that 10 grand's worth out of the shop stops? No, absolutely not. Is it important to do shop stops? Yes, 100%. We need to do them. Is it the answer or the only solution? Absolutely not. Yeah. Is it an outdated way of marketing, but still a possible way? Yes. Are there 1,000 other ways to do that? Yes. Did Montana Ricky have a good shop stop experience when he was younger? Probably. Does that mean the same kid is going to have that same feeling? No. We need to do what is going to relate to that kid now. Because these guys that all say shop stop, shop stop, shop stop, I don't think many of them have been on actual shop stop tours. I've been on a lot of shop stop tours. I plan shop stop tours. If we're not doing one, it is for a really good reason. Yeah. And these guys just have to trust that. There's a reason. We do them. And if it's not being done, there's a reason that it's not being done,
Yeah, what I said is the only way I see shop tours is really growing the pie of BMX is you'd have to go to the shops and equip them in a way to reach out to their local communities to try to get non-riders to show up.
Yeah.
With whatever digital media, social media, something. Because if you're not getting, I don't know what the answer is, but if you can find some way to get that shop to market locally, to get random people to come in to whatever, you know.
Right. It's up to the brand to get
'Cause
riders to the
if
shop.
the shop just brings the 15 kids in the town that ride or 20 kids that already ride to come, it's no one's really benefit.
Well,
the kids benefit.
In reality, the brand is bringing those kids to the shop that day.
Fair.
So
Yeah.
what we need is the shop to bring kids that don't know about our brand.
It's almost like you need to find some collaboration between local schools and local shops that like triangulates all three that can get BMX. It's like the shop would become the vector to get the brand in front of the kids that were at the school, whether it be at the school or at the shop after.
And another thing with the shops is the shop stop thing is tough because there's only like freaking 8 core BMX shops in the whole country.
Yeah.
So when you go to a shop stop, you're not doing a shop stop. You're doing a counter stop, like a glass case stop.
Yeah.
In a mountain bike gravel store or whatever the place, whatever it is. And the owners don't care about BMX. They don't have any of our products in stock. And there's 6 kids there, and there's just it's a balance. Like we said, like should we drop 10K on this? Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And
like it makes sense to squeeze them in if you're already going to be somewhere and you have the time.
Yeah. But I mean, we did a big old shop stop tour. We did California, Arizona, Nevada. This was 3 years ago, sessions tour. It's online, big old thing. We did it. We're doing them. We're still doing them. We're at Mr. B's in Orlando like a month ago after Swamp Fest. But that is not the answer, guys. That is a lazy answer.
I agree with you.
That is an extremely lazy answer. That is not creative. It's antiquated, and it's a small solution among many for doing whatever it is that conversation was about.
I more so even blame the shops for us getting here. To use the term, shops have used an antiquated model for freaking forever, and very few shops have adapted to the modern marketplace. And I've been calling this out for almost 20 years now, because BMX was already where the rest of the world is now, where everyone's buying it online. The shop needs to prove to the consumer or the kid's mom that you're bringing value to the table. And now we're there where shops are scrambling and people they don't want to. It's bad. The whole shop scene is
bad.
rough.
It's rough because
Shops need to recognize that BMX is a doorway for lifelong cycling, even if the BMX only lasts a while. So it would be good for them to lean into it.
Lean into other forms of cycling.
No, to lean into BMX.
Oh yeah.
To find the long-term cycling, because you're not going to sell an 8-year-old on a $1,500 mountain bike, and the mom's not going to buy it. But if you can get them on a cheap enough BMX bike, you can get someone who'll ride BMX for 10 years and then maybe switch to mountain biking. And
the thing this is another thing about the shop stop stuff. The guys that talk about shop stop. These guys are not traveling the country. They're not traveling the world. And I know for a fact they're not spending a lot of time in different bike shops all over the place.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you this. A lot of the bike shop guys are not BMX guys. They can't give you the proper information that you need. The unfortunate reality is there's only like 8, let's just say 10 to be optimistic, core, solid, dialed BMX shops in the country. If every brand should be going to those bike shops, yes. We just went. I took the whole Kink Cinema team to Powers when they did their that stuff needs to be happening 100%. That's important. But yeah, the scene, the shop, the whole, and I own a BMX shop. I have one. The whole way that they're operated is a bit sometimes antiquated, and a little bit not in tune. With yeah.
I run my bike shop out of here. I'm literally on my logo. It says I'm the anti-bike shop.
I mean, with what we did out with the cut was we saw how other shops are doing it in Europe, and wasn't really any. There's one other shop in Barcelona, but we saw how they were doing, and we're like, we can do this better. We want to do it differently than these bike shops doing it. But it's hard for a BMX guy and a core BMX guy to take on a business and do it and have. It's hard for circuits and Powers and all those guys to exist. So it's difficult. It's messy, and it's not just BMX problem. That's a world or a America or economic issue.
Yeah, when we did that whole live stream thing, and everyone's talking about shops and blah blah blah, and they're like, it doesn't exist without us. I was like, I'm sorry, but that's not true.
There's part of it. I mean, we need it all.
the rising tide raises all ships. Like I guess say specific to Rochester, like a vibrant scene. You have an indoor skate park, you have an outdoor skate park, you have a DIY, you have a warehouse, you have local groups doing their events. Like all of that's good, right? We need everything. But if every bike shop closed tomorrow, BMX doesn't dissolve, right?
It's not going to dissolve.
It's not going to dissolve. And there are people that think that the shops are the end all be all. And again, I've been in shops for 20 years.
We're not
You own
talking
a shop,
shit about shops.
but, like,
I have a shop. You have a shop.
Reality is like
it's a part of this puzzle. It is not the whole puzzle.
Yeah.
At one point, it was the whole puzzle. I don't know how many years ago that was, but obviously, like the world changes, how things work change, and that trickles all the way down to how. BMX
What's crazy because
works.
online sales isn't even the thing anymore. There's so many places you could buy stuff now. Because forever, like Roman, every time I talk to Roman, you selling online yet? I'm like, ship sailed, dude. You can't just tomorrow start selling stuff online. Like, it's like I can't possibly stock enough stuff to be that guy. So I might sell. It's again. I mentioned it earlier. The decentralization of BMX and the marketplace in general.
I mean, that's the tough argument with the shop stuff. Is like the shops are important, but it is a small part of many part. Is one part of many, many, many parts, and avenues and platforms to buy and sell product. Is unfortunately, for better or for worse, it's not the end all be all anymore. It is a necessary part, of course. Don't get me wrong. Again, we both are heavily into BMX shops, like we have them. But I think you also have to understand, it's 2025, and there's so many avenues to do what needs to be done as far as distributing products, selling them, buying them, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's complicated, and it's frustrating, and it's tough, and that's just life.
All right, I'm gonna hit you with a couple of rapid fire questions, and we'll call it.
Let's do it.
Who is the most talented bike rider you've ever seen in person?
Probably, if not Garrett, Ben Hiddle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Kevin Porter, maybe. Yeah, but maybe Garrett. Oh, I don't know. Simone Baracco. Okay. Simone.
You can take this good or bad either way. Who's a rider?
Sexton. Yeah. Sorry.
Who's a rider where their forward-facing persona and their behind it there's the biggest gap? And again, it could be good. You don't have to tell me if it's good or bad or what that gap is, but like, who's the, keep the two worlds separate kind of guy?
Fuck. I don't know. Jeez. I don't know. Some big personalities in this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Who's the biggest what if rider who's out there?
What if?
Because there's been so many guys that
There still are, like Vernangle, Raccani, Churchill. Those are still what ifs. I was telling Daryl.
You still consider those guys what ifs?
I was telling Daryl this the other day. Those three are still arguably the most talented bike riders, like of their current age range.
Okay. And
all three of them are like doing other stuff, and that sucks. For whatever the reasons are, self-imposed, whatever it is, that's a bummer. Those guys, I think, because those guys' careers lasted into their early 20s. I mean, not Raccani, but Stevie and Fernangle, they were in the early 20s when their shit faded out. Maybe not even, And now you can be a pro bike rider into your late 30s if you have it going, if things are going right. So it's like, those are what ifs to me, big time, yeah. Even though those guys are prolific in their own right still, but fucking Jaden is a big what if, but I don't think that's it's not a bad what if. Like, I think he's exactly where he wants to be.
Well, I think Jaden's smart. I think Jaden's dad's really smart.
The family's too smart for this life.
Yeah, exactly. Because I say this all the time, the risk is often not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze often in BMX.
It depends what you're looking to get out of it. If it's money, then it's probably not going to be worth it. If it's all the other things that come with it, to me, it's worth it tenfold. But it just depends. Everyone's different, and everyone has different goals and different things they want out of life and whatever. So, but Jaden is such a sick rider. I think he has a big trajectory, if that's what he wanted. I don't think being a big time pro bike rider was ever Jaden's goal. I never got that vibe from him.
Yeah, he wanted to travel and air stuff and have fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, doesn't think he was like cut out to necessarily be like pro bike rider guy, but yeah, he's so sick, and like his creative, refreshing take on BMX in general and riding, and he's a what if for sure. Those three guys, though, honestly, Fernango was out so early, Churchill was out so early. Those are big time what ifs. Like everything that you guys, people seen from those guys with the big careers they had, that was nothing. It was nothing from what they were capable of.
What rider have you seen who's been sponsored by Kink sold the most product?
Well, wasn't my rider, but probably like back in the day, like Sheer.
You think?
Casey sold a lot of bars in France. He had a long run.
Of those.
It's Nathan, probably Nathan. But yeah, everyone's had their own little runs. Tony had a long run of stuff.
It seemed like at one point there's a lot of Sexton frames around.
I mean, Sexton was the man. Yeah, everyone kind of had their own little like run, but if I was to just without knowing it all, I'd probably say Nate, just because he's Nate and he's had the most signature stuff, and now he's had it for a while. He's going to continue to have it for a while. So,
who's the most stylish rider, BMX rider ever?
Aiken or Chase.
Fair.
Simone. I want an older one though, like
Christopher.
Yeah, like I want one of those guys. Like
Garrett Burns.
Yeah.
Recently started following me on the gram.
Nice, congrats.
That's when you know you made it.
Yeah, those early guys, like the PA dudes, the guys that were in the woods that no one even knew. But yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, being who I am, I think Aiken, Chase, Simone. Those are like the ones that would immediately come into my brain.
What's the craziest thing you've seen someone do in person?
Seeing Chad Osborne do the full pipe loop in San Jose or in Santa Cruz was wild.
Is that like the fastest you ever seen someone go?
It was just shocking, and it was like 10 in the morning, no pads, no warm ups. But I've seen a lot of crazy.
I bet, dude.
But yeah, that just came to me. I didn't know you were gonna ask that question.
Yeah.
And that's the first one that came to me. So it has to be that, right? I've seen Doyle do so much crazy stuff. Nate, the stuff that I see Nate do still, the stuff that's unreleased that will be released in like a year or two, the stuff Nathan Williams is doing now that he did last week or that he did Orlando when we were there last month, like it's unbelievable.
It like trips me out when you see these guys that have been around for as long as I have still doing stuff that big and that gnarly and progressive with like this the amount of switch stuff nowadays. It's so crazy.
It's incredible, and it's like inspiring and motivating and deflating. It's insane. Nate is I'm probably Nate. Besides that Chad loop, because that came right to me, and Doyle doing all the crazy stuff he did. Watching Nathan work for the last bunch of years has been everything. Like all his stuff from Champagne, from 30, the stuff that he's filming now for the future is just, it's otherworldly. I wish more people could be at these sessions and see what I see to feel that, like they wouldn't be telling you BMX is dead. I tell you that.
Maybe you should be live streaming the filming sessions
honestly,
on Twitch.
I think I'm not going to do that, but I think about how can I somehow like spread what I get to see sometimes and experience, because I am in such a lucky position and I don't take that for granted ever. And I wish more people, when I see people talking about BMX or they're down on it or they're confused about it or whatever, I'm like, fuck, I wish you could just come stay with me for like a couple weeks. You would love this shit so much. Yeah.
What's the best not Kink or cinema produced video ever?
Oh, wow, these are tough. All the props videos.
All the props. That's a cop out, dude.
The best video, like for me or for just in general.
For you, I'm asking your personal taste.
Yeah, like my personal taste back in the day, like Daryl's bad timing videos were like crazily influential on me. Obviously, and brought Daryl into those bad timing videos. Gave Daryl the doorway to his whole thing. Those were a big deal. fuck, those cult videos. I mean, the United videos that came out were perfect. The Peter Adam ones. I mean, the James Cox ones too. But
The first 2 cult videos were pretty.
the thing that
sick.
trips me out now is that I'm old as fuck, and so much good shit has happened that I don't like. I need more time to think because I'm not doing justice. Yeah, forward. Like how can I leave that out? And just so many like Criminal Mischief, all the like.
I don't think Criminal Mischief really holds up.
But do you want to say produced, like best produced, like quality?
Well, best produced is totally different, and different eras of videos, the production values were vastly different.
Yeah.
You're trying to compare Criminal Mischief to like at least Grounded or something. Yeah.
But the impact is.
I don't think Criminal Mischief holds up that well. There's some good parts in it, but there's a bunch of
if you go back, you're like, oh wait, it was just the names just like.
Etnies Forward though. A lot of that video really does still hold up. Sandy Carson's part is really still unique and cool. Ends was my first favorite rider.
Yeah.
There's still some parts in that video that are just timeless. Taj's stuff is sick.
You know Torado had clips in that video from here?
Yes.
At Fun Effects?
And I still do feeble to crank arm, like actual crank arm, not new school crank arm. Feeble crank arm 180s, and he did that on that bench in that California park.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean... This is such a long list of videos for me. But
Montana Ricky, good or bad for BMX?
Is Montana Ricky bad for BMX?
Good or bad for BMX?
He's great for BMX because he's a BMX rider and he loves BMX. He's passionate about it. He's bad for BMX because he says horrible negative stuff all the time. And I don't know. It's just like has such a weird like for someone that's so passionate about BMX, he has such a pessimistic view on it now, I think.
Yeah, I talk to him. We talk pretty often.
But the thing about Ricky is I don't see Ricky at events or on trips or in the videos. It's a lot of online.
Yeah.
Not a ton of physical action.
That's
you know
fair.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking shit about.
I mean, he's dealing with a lot of physical stuff now. He had back surgery and stuff. But I see what you're saying.
But yeah, just I don't know. There's a lot of online chatter. Is my like I don't know Ricky personally. Like we're not like super close or anything. I think his passion for BMX is exactly what I wish more people had.
I had him on the show, and it was hard to keep him on topic. He just like, and he talks so much and so fast. And afterwards, we talked on the phone, and I was like, dude. Well, actually, this was like a month later. I had to let it simmer down a bit. I was like, you have to. Like sit down a bit and think about this stuff before you talk. Like get all your thoughts in line. Get like he contradicted himself so many ways. He contradicts
himself a lot, and he says a lot of things, and he wishes and dreams for a lot of things that are happening, that are reality now, and he's just not aware of it, or he hasn't found them, or he's just kind of in his own bubble, which is normal. Everyone has their own world that they live in. But yeah, just sometimes. Some of the stuff he says, I'm just like, I can't really relate.
All right, what's one brand out there that right now that you see and you're like, oh, they're doing it right?
Besides Kink.
Yeah, obviously. Or Cinema.
Well, all the brands could do a better job of things, including ours.
I'm sure you see some out there and you go, what the hell are they doing? Like,
including our brands too.
Like who's the one right now? You're like, no, like right now,
I think BSD always does BSD and Grant. I know Grant very well, and I see Grant a lot in Barcelona. BSD always does a really good job of doing the best they can with what they have and making and living BMX authentically, selling BMX authentically, showing it authentically. So BSD's always has had my respect in that regard. I mean, all the brands, any of these guys that are showing up, the guys that are going to the office every day, whether it's the Cult guys or Robbie or the BSD guys or the Federal guys or United guys or anybody, like the guys that are just showing up for the job, that's like they're doing it, they're killing it. Keep doing it. That's like they have my respect because it's not easy and it's thankless and it's not profitable, but. There's a lot more stuff that's more important than all that. That makes me respect those brands. And I am again in a fortunate situation. I talk to enough people that I can see this type of stuff. So I see some stuff that a normal person probably can't see. and might think like, oh, this brand kind of sucks now or whatever. But the guys that show up and grind it out in the warehouse all day, shipping stuff, you know, they're BMX diehards, but they're sucking it off as 9 to 5 so that BMX diehards have stuff to ride and shit. Those brands, they have my respect 100%.
All right.
Yeah.
You've had a long career in BMX, and I'm sure it's going to continue on.
I sure hope so, until the wheels fall off.
So far, what has BMX taught you?
Don't do, I don't want to say don't be normal. Do like what you want to do. If it's being normal and do have a normal job or do this and that, then do that. If it's live on the street with your bike in a different country every day, do that. Do it. Just do it. Like, be self-motivated, DIY, make it happen. Don't let money hold you back. Don't let relationships hold you back. Like, easier said than done, of course, but it can be done. I've seen kids do it. I've done it myself before I had help with Kink. When I don't have help with Kink, I know a lot of people that don't have nothing in BMX, no help, no support, and they live the dream because they have the mindset. Like, if you want to do something, do it. Figure out how to do it. Research it, especially now. If you want to travel somewhere, or if you want to do something, just do it. Start figuring it out now.
It is easier than ever to learn those things.
And BMX and like manifesting to me kind of like go hand in hand, because it's like a thing that's not tangible. It's not real. It's an idea. It's an emotion. But if you believe in it and you're dedicated to it enough and you really live it, like you're gonna get out of it what you want, or maybe what you didn't even know you wanted. That's what I've learned from BMX. Like, I hope that makes sense to anyone that's listening.
No, that's great.
Like, yeah, just if you want to do something, do it. Yeah, take a road trip with your friends, or not if it's un-BMX related, if it's a job, if it's a school, if it's a moving opportunity, if it's a workout, anything. Like, just rip it. Like, manifest it, make it happen, because it's possible. It's super possible. I think what I've seen and witnessed with my own eyes and for my own life personally within BMX is so like ridiculous and impossible that I think anything's possible now, you know? And that's
awesome.
Yeah, BMX has definitely taught me that.
Well, this has been a great conversation. It genuinely makes me want to ride.
Oh,
and I've been trying to ride more. It's just life is. Yeah. Especially when you have I'm running 3 businesses and have a baby, so it gets tough.
I mean, that's another one of those things that's like, like you have to sacrifice different types of things to go about, to keep moving forward in life, and so the BMX has to go down for you to have your family go up, and vice versa.
And in 6 years or so, maybe I'm at the skate park with my kid, and then all of a sudden it's like you have that, well, I guess for me that would put me in my 50, almost 50, but I'm 50-year-old resurgence. So
people are doing it. I mean, I hope. I mean, I ride with Ian Morse all the time in Barcelona. He's 50-something.
That's so
He's still killing it. But I ride with Grant Smith from BSD all the time in Barcelona. He's 50-something too. Neither of these guys live in Barcelona, but they come to Barcelona like constantly.
Yeah. Bit smaller over there in Europe, huh?
Yeah, it's like the state. I mean, it's smaller than the States. Like, yeah, you just go country to country. Like, when we did Project X, we went to like, I don't know, you could drive into like 5 different countries in like 8 hours. It's just totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hope I'm riding when I'm that age. We should be. If I just keeping it chill.
When I was younger, I wanted to be the oldest person that could do a bunny hop 360.
Yeah.
And in 2004, that seemed like a really attainable goal. But now in 2025, I'm like, crap, dude.
The older I get, I'm like harder on myself if I'm not riding as much. I'm like, dude, don't become an old guy and like start slipping. But I kind of have to be like, dude, you're not like a little kid anymore. And I still get hurt.
Sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
I still get hurt all the time. I still film or try to film. Yeah, like I'm still an active BMX kid, but I am 38, and like it's getting more difficult. But yeah, we'll see.
All right, this has been awesome.
Yeah,
I had a great
going.
time. We're 2.5 hours, so
really,
yeah.
Shit.
So
yeah, this is a cool conversation, and yeah, anytime I'm back in town, I'm more than happy to come through and chat and throw any questions at me.
Yeah, let me know when you're around, and I could.
For you and for anyone listening, if anyone has in Rochester or beyond, I'm super easy to get in touch with. Kind of, I travel all the time, but like, if anyone has a question about kink, about BMX, about Rochester, about whatever it is, hit me up. If you don't know me, if you've never talked to me, if we've beefed, doesn't matter. Hit me up on Instagram, find my number, get my email. I'm an open book. Kink is accessible, and I want to do nothing but, you know, let people in, let people that care like yourself, if they want to know more, I'm here, you know.
Cool.
And yeah, just hit me up, anybody, for real.
Cool. And I'll take this opportunity to say, this is probably a month ago. I just haven't gotten to it. We have another cross promotional deal here with Kink at the skate park, where they're supplying me with rental bikes.
Yeah.
So they're sitting over there in those boxes. I haven't built them because I'm trying to build them on video and paint the murals on video and whatever. So this will be the first time I'm dropping that news that we work, you know, have a sponsorship this year, which is great.
Oh yeah,
which
very
we've kind of in the past kind of did, and then, you know, COVID's been tough and bikes have been tough in general.
Yeah.
And shout out to Chuck. He kind of made it all happen. In the middle of him making it all happen, and there was stuff happening. People leaving their positions and things got screwy, but we made it happen. So
yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, and we're stoked. We're stoked to be here. Obviously, we want to.
And I was starting to worry that they were gonna be like, "What happened with those bikes?" Especially because I did that video about Colt sending me a box of stuff, and I'm like, "They're coming. It's coming."
Yeah.
I was just like,
"No, again, we're chill.
There.
It's just a bunch of chill dudes over there.
Yeah,
it's just no one's tripping. No, that's cool.
Well,
and one time, sorry. No, I was gonna say one thing we didn't cover on this, but it could be a whole nother show, is Rochester BMX history. If you are from Rochester listening to this, you are from like an insanely unique, exceptional city.
Yeah.
The amount of like BMX history from people in and around Rochester on like a world scale is insane. And I would say most kids or people in Rochester probably have no idea of that.
Bro, Steve DeBusk.
Well, it goes way farther back than Steve, but yeah, everybody. I mean, from Greg Walsh to like the early Kink employees, like this city.
Greg will definitely be on the show.
This city is such a small, random city, and it has made such a silent, massive impact on BMX that most people will never know about.
I love Rochester. I mean, I had a couple.
I hate this place and love it so much, you know. But I'm from here. I got the love-hate tat like everybody, but yeah, this city is just like so deep in BMX like history and roots at a core level. It's fascinating. Like the people that have lived here, the people that are from here, the people that have came through here, the brands they've worked for, the things they've done, the people at the professional riding level. It's crazy, and it's so cool that Rochester has been able to have that for being such a random, weird little shit city in the middle.
And I'm honored to have come here and been part of that.
Yeah, I mean, you are part of that.
Keeping it
You're
going,
a part of that story in a huge way. You know,
even like the Rochester skate park scene is crazy. Like people talk about how the parks came and gone, but like there can't be any other city that had as many skate parks as we've had. Of the big
with the caliber too, like the quality of them. Yeah.
Yeah, mine might be the worst one actually.
I wouldn't call it the worst one, but it says a lot about a city that those places exist and still do, and it's such a small city.
Well, it has a culture that's creating people who are passionate enough that they're willing to try that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like I'm here, I'm 8.5 years. I've lasted longer than any of them.
It's created people that are crazy enough to try opening skate parks or opening BMX brands or t-shirt printing businesses or whatever it is. There is a part of Rochester and the East Coast in general that kind of like promotes that within.
I'd like to get to a point where I'm open longer than all of the other ones combined.
Yeah, you're getting there, right?
Which would be epic. I don't know. I mean, the first park around here probably opened in like, if you don't count Spinners, because Spinners was nowhere really near here.
Well, that's not true. Because Spinners was like my local. I'm from Penfield. Spinners was only like 10, 15 minutes for me.
This is Macedon, right?
Yeah. So it's like next town.
Yeah.
And like the Kink guy, like Spinners was my like first.
When Spinners started, like it was like 98, I think.
Probably, yeah.
So that would be basically from 98 to 2016. So.
But was the skate park going that whole time?
There was almost always a skate park in Rochester.
Yeah.
maybe I think in between Extremes and Rasp there wasn't, because Scuffs was already closed. But essentially from 98 to 2016, there was almost always a skate park.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty tall ask for me to get that far.
Yeah.
Considering I'm probably going to close next year. But,
Well, I hope not.
yeah, me too. But
I come to you see me at Patron when I'm in town.
Yeah,
I don't have my
appreciate
bike
it.
on this trip,
All right.
unfortunately.
again, thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone in the live chat. Thank you for our normal listeners. Tell everyone where they can find you if they want to follow you and the various accounts that you run.
Yeah, get in touch with me on the Kink BMX Instagram. I'm behind there. Cinema BMX Instagram. I'm behind there. My email is easy to find. My phone number is easy to find. I have 2 phone numbers. I live in Barcelona. It's hard to get in touch with me sometimes. My personal Instagram, nothing is rad. Hit me up on there.
What's the shop called?
The Cut BMX.
On Instagram as well?
Yeah, in Barcelona, Spain. My boy Pato's got you covered there if you ever need anything. And yeah.
And Kink and Cinema, I'm sure you're on all the social medias, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Everything, yeah, you guys know the drill. We're
Mission BMX as well, sure.
We're
throw
out
it in
there. Kink Cinema Mission, yeah, they've got it all. It's not hard to get in touch with us if you guys have questions, if you guys have problems with anything, if you guys have anything. We're there. Hit us up.
Sick.
I'm there. Curtis is back there. If you guys, anyone listening in Rochester knows Curtis, he's the best. He kills it. He's going to be one of your, if not me, he's going to be your first line of communication if you're contacting any of the other email addresses and stuff like that. So, yeah, we got you.
All right, cool. Thank you guys. And anyone that wants to support the podcast, you can find Breaking Free Skate Park on Patreon. You can subscribe at any level, starting at $5, and it really helps in these summer months. And, the typical stuff like subscribe, share the video. You all know.
Support local.
That's right. So thank you for watching.